Hey, Shauna, City Clerk.
Good evening. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing well, doing well.
Shauna, did Trish send you the written comments we had for tonight?
She did email me, let me double check everything. Yep, 4 different public comments, starting with one of our consent calendar items, item 3D.
Okay, thank you. I just want to check.
Chief, how you doing?
Hey, Don, sorry to bug. I got to go to a fire right now. Rod's on a vehicle accident, and I'm going to take off to this.
No worries. Thank you for
Okay.
joining.
Try to get on right after it's done. I'm going to the river. Thanks. Bye.
Be safe.
Thank you.
Sounds like a homeless fire.
Oh, that's the.
Madam Mayor, I did want to mention for you, one of our public comments is 4 pages long, which is probably quite a bit more than 3 minutes. So what I will be doing is reading, I'll time myself for 3 minutes and stop at the end of that 3-minute period. You've received the same public comment already.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Don, I have a quick question for you.
Yes?
I just wanted to confirm if I should present the PowerPoint slideshow tonight, or if you would be presenting it.
No, I'll introduce you and you will present it very quickly.
Right, and I'll share my screen.
You've done a lot of work, Melanie. Aaron, you guys have done great work. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Just wanted to double check. Thank you.
Hey, Attorney Deborah Mall.
Hey there.
Hi,
everybody.
Councilman Freeman. Hi, Councilman Friels. Hi, Vice Mayor Flores. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Mhm.
Dawn, can you make me co-host for the public comment portion? Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, good evening, all. I'd like to call this meeting to order. The special city council meeting of Tuesday, July 13th, 2021 at 6 p.m. Councilmember Freeman, can you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, thank you.
Could everybody please stand?
All right, ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the
To the
flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice and liberty for all.
And justice for all. Thank you very much. May I please get a roll call?
Councilmember Edge. Vice Mayor Flores.
Present.
Councilmember Friels.
Here.
Councilmember Freeman.
Here.
Mayor Jordan.
Present. Thank you. And Councilmember Edge is excused for this meeting. All council members are participating remotely pursuant to the governor's executive order number N2920 in order to minimize the spread of COVID-19 virus. Public comments can be made during the meeting by watching the meeting on Zoom at https://zoom.us/j/88 55790 or calling into 1-669-900-6833 and enter webinar ID 885-5791-1120. Public comment will be taken on agenda items before action is taken by the council. When I open public comment for the item you wish to speak, please press 9 on your telephone keypad to raise your hand, or use the raise your hand icon to be identified. When called to speak. Not on the agenda, council. Are there any public comments on the items not on the agenda?
If you would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand or dial *9 now on your telephone keypad. Madam Mayor, there are no public comments on items not on tonight's agenda.
Thank you very much. Consent items. Are there any members of the council that wish to remove a consent item? Sorry. Vice Mayor Flores?
No, I have none.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Friels? Councilmember Friels, do you wish to remove anything from the consent item?
Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties. No, thank you.
That's okay. Thank you. Councilmember Freeman?
No, it's fine as it is.
Thank you very much. Do we have any members of the public who wish to do that?
Madam Mayor, we do have one public comment that was submitted for item 3D.
Thank you. We'll pull that one.
Okay. If you would like to make a comment on any item on tonight's agenda under consent calendar, please raise your hand or dial *9 now. There are no other public comments.
Okay, going back to item D. Is there a discussion on that? Was that submitted?
It was a public comment that was submitted to the city this afternoon, and I believe it was forwarded to council. And I was just
Okay.
going to read it.
Please go ahead.
Okay, this is submitted by Jolene Cosio. Regarding the proposed change in the capital improvement budget for fiscal year 21-22, I'm adamantly opposed to this redistribution of funds. Our city is desperately in need of all the proposed street and sidewalk improvements in the current budget and more. What we do not need is an expensive landscape project along what is now one of the better streets in the city. When I walk or drive to the section of 3rd Street that the new landscape proposal is for, I see 2 small sections of dirt with the weeds mowed down that are not being cared for by adjacent properties. Nearly all of the other properties in that section take care of their landscapes on the street side of the sidewalk. They have planted trees, ground cover, or small bushes, and sometimes have added rocks or pavers to improve the look of their homes from the street. While I'm happy for both the residents and the section of 3rd Street and those who drive along it, that the city of San Bautista had the budget to improve the street, gutter, and curbs, I do not believe that adding free landscape is a good use of public funds, nor is it the best interest of the entire city. Perhaps the city has a great deal of extra water and manpower to maintain this new landscaping, or perhaps the city will add a new landscape assessment district to plant and maintain this property like is done in new developments. A much better plan would be to wait until the winter rains come, plant some drought-tolerant ground cover, and let the adjacent properties maintain their own little section the way the rest of the city does. Only new developments should have this luxury, and they pay for it with assessment districts. Please view the few attached photos of our historic district signs and sections of sidewalks and streets, or just take a walk around the entire city if you agree that as much of our city budget as possible should go towards keeping our street, sidewalks, and signage safe and smooth. Thank you for your hard work on the 2021 capital improvement budget, and I really hope this will be a better year when all the proposed projects will be completed so we can move on to the next round of priority projects. And again, that's thank you, Jolene Cosio. That was the single public comment on the consent calendar.
Thank you very much. Okay, I will entertain a motion now to approve all the consent items and pull D.
I'll make a motion.
Madam Mayor, for clarification, are you pulling D from the consent calendar to vote on it separately?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
I have a motion to accept the consent items, except D, right?
Yes, thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Okay, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Mayor Flores,
Vice Mayor Flores, you're asked to vote.
Oh, yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Sorry.
no worries.
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan,
Yes. Thank you very much. Discussion on D.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
Julie Bazar, city engineer, is here, and we would like to just kind of provide some background for the city council on this report. Basically, as suggested in the staff report, landscaping after the street improvements was not included in the budget, and several of the community members, neighbors there, came to us and asked if we were going to landscape, and we realized that we needed to get the project done and then revisit landscaping at a later date. And then I forgot to bring that up when I brought the CIP forward. So this was an effort to have a conversation about landscaping on 3rd Street and possibly add it back into the CIP. And Julie's here and she can describe the conversations and plans as we had perceived them. Julie?
Thank you very much. Please unmute yourself. There you go.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. As Mr. Reynolds mentioned, during the construction, I had a number of residents along 3rd Street approaching us and making the comment that this portion of the 3rd Street is a continuation of our downtown. And it would be really nice to add some landscaping, beautify the street. We have some historical properties along that stretch, and it would be nice to include landscaping. And when we talked to different residents along 3rd, everybody, of course, had their own idea of what we need to plant there. So when I had a conversation with Mr. Reynolds, we came with the idea that let's postpone the landscaping till after the project is completed, and perhaps we can have some community input of what we want to go ahead and, plant along this portion of the 3rd Street that makes sure that everybody's concern is addressed, and we would have a landscaping that is consistent with the historical theme of the city. I also had a resident who owns a business in that area, and they want to go ahead and landscape that area. And I asked them not to move forward till we have a theme of what's going to be planted along that stretch. We, I'm sure as everybody mentioned, we worked really hard to save the 2 tall trees that we have that at the beginning, this is at Mokelumne and 3rd Street. And the idea is also some residents mentioned to us that it would be nice to have 2 other large trees on the other side to match the trees that we have on both sides. So as you could tell, there are a number of ideas that came forward. And so as a result, we felt it was important to bring this item back, get the community inputs, get the council members' input, and then we could move forward and make this stretch of 3rd Street consistent with what we have in the downtown due to some historical side, and beautify this new improvement and, in structure for the city. I'll be more than happy to answer any other question, but these are some of the comments that we received during construction.
Okay, cool. Great. Thank you very much. Vice Mayor Flores, comments, questions, concerns?
No comments, pretty clear.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Councilman Friels, questions, comments, concerns?
No comments, no concerns. Like Cesar says, it seems pretty clear. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Freeman, questions, comments, concerns?
No, I don't have any either. I'd just like to remind everybody that I think when we built 3rd Street, it was about a year ago, I believe. Thanks to the hardworking engineer, we saved many thousands of dollars. So putting a little bit of it back into the landscaping is not a bad deal. Thank you.
Right, thank you.
Thank you. This is something that the city will continue to upkeep.
Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thank you.
And if I may add, Mr. Reynolds, I believe I have already discussed this idea with our corporation yard, and going through the process and getting input, we'll make sure that we will plant something that is drought resistant and it doesn't require a lot of maintenance. So that has already been discussed among the staff as well.
Native plants, right?
I'm sorry?
Is that native plants, right?
Yes. Yeah, there's not going to be any palm trees out there, so we'll make sure they're native trees.
Thank you all very much. Okay, I'd like to, is there any other public comment on this?
Madam Mayor, there are no other public comments at this time.
Thank you very much. Take a roll call vote to adopt 3C as it is stated. Sorry, a motion. If I could have a motion. Thank you very much.
Second that.
Thank you. First by Vice Mayor Flores, second by Councilmember Friels. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Vice Mayor Flores,
Yes, I'm sorry.
Councilmember, it's okay.
I hear you.
Councilmember,
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan,
Yes.
and item 3D passes with a 4-0-1 vote and Councilmember Edge absent.
Thank you very much. Presentations, informational items, and reports. Treasurer's report and monthly financial statements by our city treasurer, Michelle Sabathia, 4A.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening.
Hi, Michelle,
Councilmember.
welcome.
Awesome. So let's jump into it. I have a brief overview for you guys on the financials. We can start off with the general fund. So our year-to-date net effect, currently is a positive balance of 152,000 month over month. The change was a decrease of 77,000 within the general fund. Our revenues, on the revenue front, we continue to see sales tax to be a healthy contributor. So nothing alarming there. On the expenditure side, you'll see on the warrant listing, we paid out our normal vendors. One item to point out on the warrant listing, if you're curious, is, or I guess would be CSG Consultants, as we paid out current and prior month invoices. So that's why you'll see it's a little heavier this month. So that's a big contributor for that matter. On the water enterprise fund, year to date, our net effect is currently still a positive balance as well, 451,000. The month over month change was an increase of 49,000. So the increase on the revenues was predominantly related to higher water usage. And it's typical this time of year that we see this trend continue to be upwards. So that's a good thing. And we expect that to be like that for the next couple of months. On the expenditure side, I wouldn't say that there's any new call outs or anything too high to point out right now. If we move on to the sewer enterprise fund, year to date, our net effect is currently still a positive balance of 269,000. The month over month change was an increase of 29,000. So similar to the water fund, we saw this slightly increase on the revenue side. And if we jump into the expenditures, we see that the expenditures are trending slightly down compared to the prior month due to chemical testing coming in lower than expected. So that's the overview I have for you guys right now. Let me know if there's any questions.
Nice. Thank you very much for that presentation. Members of the council, questions, comments, or concerns? Vice Mayor Flores.
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you very
Good
much.
report.
Councilmember Friels, questions, comments, concerns?
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Freeman, questions, comments, or concerns?
Thank you for the great report, Michelle. No questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Nice job on the report and asking pertinent questions up front. That was really nice. Okay. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns from the public?
If you'd like to make a public comment, please raise your hand or dial *9 on your telephone keypad now. Madam Mayor, there are no public comments.
Thank you very much. City Manager's report, 4B.
Thank you,
City
Mayor.
Manager, take it away.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to share my screen now. I have a few slides on the city manager's report. A lot going on at City Hall. There we go. Let's see. Let's do that. There we go. Okay. There we go. All right. So we've been busy for the last month as part of our strategic plan and our budget of rebuilding city services. We spent the last 4 weeks rebuilding community development, and there's still a lot of work to do. Brian Fauch has done a great job. He's been here almost 6 weeks now. He held his first planning commission meeting July 6th. We focus first on the current planning activities. You know, there are statutory requirements and deadlines that need to be met, and software that needs to be learned. And so we focus first on the current planning activities. We've created a development review committee meeting now every 2 weeks. We go through every development in the city to see if anything is languishing in an eddy, so to speak, not moving forward, so that we can be sure that we're keeping all of our projects moving forward now. And that was reflected in the monthly status report that we provided to you last week. I think it's definitely the best community development status report we've had in quite a while. So that's refreshing. We worked last week focusing on 3 big grants that we've had on the shelf for a while. The ADU program, of course, has gotten a lot of attention. It's being paid for by the LEAP grant. We have an accident transportation planning grant with Caltrans for $180,000, and we kicked that off, meeting with the local government commission to move that forward. We also met with EMC, who's going to be handling the $160,000 SB2 grant. So more to come on those. In fact, we were considering for the city council maybe a planning commission meeting on August 10th, a special meeting just to focus on these programs and the community engagement and planning that goes behind implementing all 3 of these. We are also rebuilding, on tonight's agenda, we have proposed an office assistant public information clerk position, and I'll have more to say about that later in the meeting. Public safety, of course, the recent focus has been fireworks, and we have a discussion following our action items tonight about fireworks. It was a great test for bringing all of our resources together. That'll be later on the agenda. We need to schedule our first meeting of the Public Safety Subcommittee, so I will be out reaching to our committee members and Rachel Ponce, our new committee member at large, and trying to plan a meeting in August. It'll probably be a 6 p.m. meeting so the community can participate. But more and more, the mayor and I have been talking about a need for public safety conversations to occur, and this is a great platform so we can plan for our future and fill the holes, if any, that we may have in our systems. Certainly with the fireworks, we learned that the cameras are very effective in our community. So I think that'll be something the Public Safety Committee may take up early in its agenda. So again, some of the things we're most concerned about are crime prevention, emergency response, animal control, petty crime investigations, and traffic enforcement. We're bringing forward several ordinance changes to help code enforcement. We're proposing that the code enforcement officer has the authority to write citations for truck owners. That would require just the license plate number of a truck rather than having to stop the truck and give a citation to the driver. We are having a little difficulty placing captured chickens and roosters. So any volunteers out there who want to help us, we're able to trap them well enough. Just the resource that we had is full. So the Rooster Hotel is full. Extending citation authority to private security, especially that for parking citations. We did extend that authority temporarily for administrative citations over the 4th of July holiday, and they did receive some training in that. But we wanted to entertain the idea of having help with parking enforcement. And with help with parking enforcement, we can begin to develop a parking district and a more sophisticated parking system downtown. And then one of the challenges we've had are our teenagers staying out past the 10 p.m. curfew. The code enforcement officer will be seeking changes that allow him to cite for curfew violations rather than having to call the sheriff and waiting for the sheriff to arrive. The Luck Park, moving on to parks, Luck Park Master Plan is on the agenda tonight. I want the council to know that I've been pushing Franklin and Veruti forward, and with Julie's help, her 2 associates from CSG are working on those projects. Julie shared with me that we should be at 100% design now for Franklin Park after a community meeting in May. So that's really good news to hear. That means later in a week or so, we can hopefully go out to bid for this and in October award a construction contract for Franklin Park. So that's really good news. And Veruti Park seems to be on the same trajectory. awarding construction over the summer and then awarding the contract in October. I look forward to both of those parks finally breaking ground in October, and I wanted to come tonight with a date for that so that you guys knew. And you can hold me accountable to that October date, okay, Julie? So we're on the hook. Assessment districts, I thought we had a great meeting with the Valley Vista neighborhood, the Creek Bridge neighborhood, July 1st. Both the mayor and Councilmember Freeman were there. We learned a lot about what was lacking in our services. And we have 3 or 4, actually about a 5-prong approach for them of using just a small portion of their reserves to trim their trees, to paint their light poles, to fix some broken globes in those lights, and to get an arborist out and study the eucalyptus to see if they're worth saving or not, or if so, how they could be trimmed to remain attractive without being a danger. So we're looking at those items in particular out in the Valley Vista Assessment District, and that meeting I think went really well. So it's our burden now to follow through and upgrade services. And we should have a report back to the council in August asking for a budget amendment to use those reserve funds. The community facilities districts are on tonight's agenda. We sent the report out in advance, learning from the mistake we made with Valley Vista. We did get a few calls this week, so that was good to know that the letter was received. We'll see how our conversation goes later in the agenda. City engineer, we were out at well 6 today, learning from Microvi and seeing their new equipment work. It's just come online. It was a real challenge that Julie and the staff worked through balancing when the Microvi system was going to be filtering nitrates out of well 6's water, and when our system was going to be filtering iron and manganese out, and having to get the two systems to work together and not to overload our pumping station and our lift station. So that was quite a bit more of a challenge than we anticipated, but I'm happy to say that system's up and running, and I hope Anita Link paints a nice picture for us in the near future. They said they had a 1 o'clock deadline for today. The Meritage and Loiza negotiations is something the city engineer has been deeply involved with. That's on tonight's agenda, so I won't spend any more time there. And the 3rd Street parking and striping. We've signed the contract for adding 14 additional parking spots to the downtown in front of JJ's and at 4th Street in Muckalemme, in front of the 2-story office building there. We've been in touch with both business and property owners, so they know that we're coming forward. We're also going to paint the parking stalls along 3rd Street, like we did with the 3rd Street reconstruction, the small crosses, the little plus signs that go there to show the parkers where to park. So look forward to that coming real soon. Community development, I touched on some of this already, but Brian Fouch has been working on the home occupation process as part of the business license renewals. We've come across a few business license renewals that weren't allowed as even with a conditional use of a home occupation permit. So it's a good review process, and it allows us to tackle compliance with the HOP process incrementally, just 1 month at a time. We don't have that many, but it's still some work to do that hasn't been done in a long time. As you know, he's working on the short-term rental program. This is the Airbnb program. We started to set up that registration process about a year ago, but it's a little more detailed than that. A good program involves a health and safety inspection when they open, and then after that, an annual self-certification that the Airbnb is taken into consideration, fire extinguishers and exits and other health and safety regulations that they need to follow to keep the public healthy. We have already stated, spent a lot of time on accessory dwelling units with our planning commissioners. We met with the commissioners recently to talk about them at the July 6th meeting, and then meeting individually with commissioners this past week. The community meeting is being planned for the last week in July, much like we did with the housing element. We had a meeting at the community hall, and the community came out, and the planning commission set up some tables, and we just had a really open conversation, and that's kind of the goal right now, heading that way to re-engage the community one last time. And then we'll go back to commission maybe in August with a special meeting. So the city council can expect some policies regarding accessory dwelling units in September to the city council. And we hope the council, if you have any questions, we have a whole state 15-page brochure on accessory dwelling units. And it's a topic in almost every city I talk to. So we're all wrestling with this and we all have our own take on it. Our historic district in particular, the historic guidelines that need to be maintained there are on the front burner for this conversation. And also lastly, in Brian's status report, he referenced developing a holistic economic development program. We've never really looked at it in a holistic way. So those are some of the things we're doing. On our to-do list includes the portable basketball hoops. I shared some ideas from other cities with the city council and the planning commission, considering developing a permit program, no or low cost, $25 a year or something like that, just to make sure that the thing is safe and it's well maintained. The fence ordinance has been postponed because we don't have a regular meeting in July. So the fence ordinance would come back at the first regular meeting for second reading in September. In the meantime, here again, we've never enforced this before, so we need to do some public outreach. And by enforce, I mean the existing fences that are more than 6 feet will require the building inspector to come out and look at them and attest to their safety. So that's the status of some of those things. And that's it. A lot going on in our little town. So if the council or community have any questions, I'm happy to ordinance it. Answer it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Blah.
Questions, comments, concerns on the city manager's report. Vice Mayor Flores.
Comments, long report, nice and clear.
Thank you. Councilmember Friels.
No comments, thanks. Thanks for the updates. It's nice to be informed. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Councilmember Freeman. Questions, comments, concerns?
Not this time, just echo what Scott and Caesar said. It's good to have a complete report.
Thank you very much. I have two questions. One was the ADUs. When do we have to have that to the state for review? I thought it was in August.
No, unfortunately, Mayor, the ADU, pardon me, the majority of the laws that the state has passed went into effect in January 2019. And so we're right now flying under the state's laws. So if we get an application to build an ADU or attach one to an existing home, we are stuck following the state's laws. So our goal is, as soon as we can, modify those laws and tailor them as much as possible so that they meet our local standards, especially the objective design guidelines that we want to implement. So
Okay.
there's no deadline. We're just flying under the state's law now.
Okay, perfect. So the sooner we can have all of these meetings and get clarification and what we need down, the better. Thank you. Back to crime prevention slide. Can you go back a couple more slides, please? Authority to write citations for truck owners. That would be a license plate reader and a photo of who the trucking company is, and then kind of like a toll violation. We just send them a, okay.
Oh, that's not like
Super
a
cool.
monster. Yes, it's
I have a
not
great
too
spot
loud.
for one.
Truck owners are not being asked to write citations. When I reread that, I thought I didn't say that very well. Yes.
No.
And in fact-
I understood the concept, that where you were going with it. I just wanted to get it clear in my mind how that was actually going to work.
Yes.
Extend citation authority to private security. I have that one. Authority to cite for curfew violations. Would that go to code enforcement and changing his hours of work, or would that go to private security?
That can be decided when we get to that point. The bullet
Okay.
before, I left out the word parking. The goal was to get parking authority for our private security. This ability to cite for curfew violations would be the code enforcement officer spending a lot of time in the evenings on the weekends. So he could shift his schedule to address the 10 p.m. curfews on Saturday and Friday. That would be really helpful.
Okay. And then the extend citation authority to private security, that's where we have to change the vehicle code and the municipal code, or the municipal code to the vehicle code.
Right.
So I just wanted to add that some of these are a little tricky. I mean, I'm gonna have to look at some of them because I'm not certain that this curfew violation stuff is tricky. There's some extra case law on that, and same thing about writing citations for trucks is also, you know, the state preempts some of that. So we'll have to look at that to make sure that those are all legal.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, both of you, for those. Do we have any questions, comments, or concerns from the public?
Like to make a public comment, please raise your hand or dial *9 on your telephone keypad now. Madam Mayor, there are no public comments.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that presentation.
Oh, Madam Mayor, we just got a public comment. Oh,
Yes.
maybe it went away. There she is, Valerie Eglin. And Valerie,
Thank
I'm gonna
you.
go.
Well,
You're welcome.
welcome, Valerie. Go ahead.
Valerie, please unmute yourself.
There you go. I'm unmuted. Thank you very much. And it was really, really good to listen to Don Reynolds go over what's been going on in town and his associations and meetings. It really gives a great overview of the happenings in and around San Juan. I have a number of times jumped onto the cab of truckers going through San Juan to inform them that they were not allowed in town and give them directions to get out of town. And especially if they've been on the bike lane going out to the high school. So I have been pretty active in the past working on that. And I'm so glad that it continues to be a problem. And it's unfortunate that their GPS is screwed up. But I did want to voice a concern considering ordinances and changes. And there was something about parking on streets outside of just 3rd Street. We need white markers demarcating our parking spaces down around the Native Daughters. People tend to take up 2 parking spaces, both on 2nd Street and 4th Street, rather than using their intelligence about how to park in a civil manner so that it makes space for everyone. So that was just my comment, and I look forward to the master park plan coming up. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Madam Mayor, there are no further public comments.
Thank you. Reports from city council reps to regional organizations and committees. Vice Mayor Flores.
I only attended a leadership council dealing with the 5-year plan and also celebrated the completion of the transitional housing for San Benito County. It's our first of 3 projects that are in the works to address the homelessness. So the plan itself, how many transitional housing units we'll have in 5 years, and different other, completion dates. And that's about it. A lot of info.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Friels.
I don't have anything, but Dawn will get a hold of you about August. So I'll be out of town for about a week. So.
Oh, good. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Freeman.
No, I had no meetings during the month of July so far, so nothing to report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I did not either. That was easy. Public hearing. Moving right along. Sorry, are there any public comments on nothing that happened?
If you'd like to make a public comment, please raise your hand or dial *9 on your telephone keypad. With no public comments, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. Public hearings. Adopt a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista approving the Recology San Benito County Franchise Agreement maximum allowable solids waste collection rates for fiscal year 2021-2022. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm going to share and introduce Selena Stotler is here tonight, as well as representatives from Recology. She has a few slides to talk about the annual proposed rate increase for our refuse franchise agreement. So Selena, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. You can see my screen?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay.
Unmute yourself.
Selena, please, we lost there.
Oh, no.
There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
You're good.
Okay, great. So the rate setting process for the contractually obligated annual rate adjustment is defined in the Recology Franchise Agreement, Article 9, Contractors' Compensation and Rate Setting. And the rate adjustment calculations are performed in conformance to procedures prescribed in Attachment E of that franchise agreement. Overall, this franchise agreement for recyclables, organics, and solid waste collection services was approved in 2018 by the Integrated Waste Management Regional Agency, which includes the City of Hollister, the county, and the City of San Juan Bautista. This new agreement has brought new and improved recycling programs and services to our region. The annual rate adjustment is based on a prescribed index-based methodology outlined in the franchise agreement. It takes into account consumer price index, fuel index, and disposal and processing cost. Carl Minnie, South Bay Region Controller, and Phil Couchet, San Benito County's Recology General Manager, are here and available to answer any specific questions regarding that methodology. At the May 18th San Juan Bautista City Council meeting, the City Council approved issuance of the notice of public hearing, and notices were mailed out the next day to San Juan Bautista property owners and ratepayers. This notice of public hearing provides ratepayers advance notice and an opportunity to file a formal protest regarding new solid waste rates. If a majority protest is received, or in San Juan Bautista's case, 319 written protests submitted to the city council cannot increase the rates, and rates would remain unchanged. That being said, I believe a total of 12 protests were received to the City of San Juan Bautista, and the City Council would approve adoption of the solid waste rates per the franchise agreement. The proposed maximum allowable rates each year are 5%, and were included in that notice. However, for the July 1st, 2021 adjustment, the rate adjustment is actually lower at 4.5%. And oops, let's see. Here we go. This is a rate table kind of showing the adjustments. You can see that, well, these are the four most common residential service levels for single family homes in San Juan Bautista. The garbage service levels listed are inclusive of garbage, recycling, organics collection by Recology, and special curbside recycling programs like that twice a year bulky item collection, motor oil recycling, battery recycling, and more. And residents also have access to free recycling events like environmental days, which include compost giveaway, electronic waste recycling, and on-site paper shredding. You can see a household with a 20-gallon garbage cart service, again inclusive of that organics and recycling collection, would see a monthly increase of $1.24, and a household with a 96-gallon cart service would see a monthly increase of $3.93. Overall, 74% of residents in San Juan Bautista have a 32-gallon garbage service level or smaller, and would see a $1.49 monthly increase. And then this next table shows the monthly rate of common service levels for Recology commercial and multifamily dwelling customers in San Juan Bautista. you'll see that an apartment complex or commercial customer with a 96-gallon garbage cart service, inclusive of recycling collection, not organics, would see a monthly increase of $2.53, while a commercial customer or apartment complex with a 4-yard dumpster would see a monthly increase of $19.30. And then last table, for organics collection, an apartment complex or commercial customer with a 96-gallon green cart service, the increase of $2.31. A commercial customer apartment complex with a 2-yard green bin dumpster would see a monthly increase of $14.93. And you'll also notice from this table that commercial or multifamily dwelling customers see a reduced rate for organics collection over garbage collection. A 1-yard green bin dumpster is $116.16, and whereas that garbage gray bin dumpster is $193.16. So by reducing garbage, increasing recycling, which is a no charge, inclusive of that garbage collection. And then if they add organics or increase organics recycling, businesses often save money. And we've seen that at many San Juan Bautista businesses, such as Jardines de San Juan and Margot's Ice Cream Parlor. And this is to incentivize our businesses to recycle their organic material like yard waste, food waste, and reduce garbage going to the landfill. Again, happy to answer any questions. And we've got Carl Minnie and Phil Couchet here with Recology as well.
Thank you very much. Thanks for that presentation. Questions, comments, concerns from the council. Vice Mayor Flores?
I have none. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Friels?
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Freeman?
Yes, I have a few comments. I was at the 4 years ago. I was at the big meeting with the county and the two cities on choosing the bidder for waste service, and Recology was the low bidder out of 4 responsive bidders. So I'd like to remind everybody, all 4 bidders had a price increase built into it. So that being said, being the cheapest then, they'd be the cheapest now. There's really nobody else you can go to. So that's why it's good that we review them and make sure everything's doing well. I'd like to remind everybody that they are doing a much better job on organics. That's really important to our society, because if we don't recycle organics, which is food waste, yard waste, things like that, goes to the landfill and generates lots of methane, which I'll remind people is 20 times more potent than CO2 as a greenhouse gas. But if it goes to the composting facility, the composting facility does not generate large amounts of methane, very, 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 very small amounts of methane. It's much more, let's call it ecologically friendly. So it's a very valuable service to not only making compost, but to all of society and keeping our global warming hopefully down or not as bad as it could be. So that being said, I'm in favor of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to open to public comment right now, open the public hearing. Are there any public comments?
If you'd like to make a public comment on this item, please raise your hand or dial *9 on your telephone keypad now. Madam Mayor, there are no public comments.
Thank you. Having no public comments, I'd like to close the public hearing. May I please have a motion to pass this resolution?
I'll move it. I'll move to pass it.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second?
I have a second. Sorry, Sean.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, this is resolution 2021-36. Vice Mayor Flores.
Yes.
Councilmember Friels.
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman.
Yes.
Mayor Jordan.
Yes.
And that resolution passes with a 4-0-1 vote. Councilmember Edge absent.
Thank you very much. 5B, adopt a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista approving the levying the annual special tax for the Community Facilities District number 2018-01 for fiscal year 2021-2022. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor Jordan. I have slides to share, but just a few, I promise.
Thank you.
Help us get through this. We've talked about Valley Vista, and now's our chance to talk about the community facility districts. They are different in that they are formed under a different law adopted in 1989. They are formed on the basis of a formation report, and we've provided these in the city's website because this is really the foundation for the whole program. If you want to understand exactly what you're paying for in your community facility district fees, that's where they are detailed. And these two facility districts, it's one district with two zones. The first zone is Copperleaf, the second zone is Rancho Vista. It's comprehensive maintenance. It includes street maintenance, slurry seal, sidewalks. This is more extensive than the last district we talked about, the Valley Vista. And it's based on cost estimates that originated from 2018. So when the district was originally formed, there was something established back then called a maximum special tax. And as long as the community facility district functions within that limit, the cost of the annual assessment can go up or down based on the actual projected prices that we're paying for service. So in this case, we are paying mostly for landscaping services, and we have 1 year experience now, especially in the Copperleaf, a little less than that in Rancho Vista. And so there are some adjustments that I want to share with the council tonight. Also, there's a 2% or cost of living increase allocated every year. So that maximum special tax rate that was established in 2018 has been adjusted upwards every year by either 2% or the greater of which would be cost of living. So as we know, it's been less than 2% occasionally. That's important because I'll show you the numbers here as we move forward, that we're not billing at that maximum special tax rate for either district yet. So we're staying within that framework. This is a list of the things that they pay for in both districts. Both districts have a park. Both districts have open space and the drainage ponds that need to be maintained for stormwater, fencing, mosquito abatement is the standing water, avoiding the standing water so mosquitoes will breed, and right down the list. It's a very comprehensive list. Pardon me. We refer to that as the Mellow Roofs Community Facilities Act of 1982. So we're holding a public hearing tonight to discuss the status of these costs. And in Zone 1 in Copperleaf, the city will bill all maintenance service contracts through December 31st, 2021. And here the maximum rate, the maximum tax rate is $934.49. And the amount paid last year was $472.86. So almost half. So we're holding our own. Of course, these are brand new districts, right? We're not building any new streets yet. But we have to keep a pretty healthy reserve. But having said that, it's only the cost of living increase about 15 cents, $15 a year that we're asking in the Copperleaf Assessment District. It's a little different in the Rancho Vista Assessment District. The city will be bidding these maintenance service contracts by December 31st, but having extended the existing landscape agreements to Rancho Vista, we have a better idea of what they cost to maintain. And we've also added some open space, and we need to readdress this because we've been doing a lot of tree trimming along the trail that runs along the creek near the wastewater treatment plant, keeping the poison oak and willow trees off the trail. So these costs did go up higher than the Copperleaf costs. So the adjusted maximum is about $1,200 in Rancho Vista. Well, last year the bill was $687. And this year we're asking for a $90 increase, about 13% increase of $768.50. So we wanted to share these with the city council and with the community so that we had a good understanding of what people were paying for and the logic behind it. Now, the mayor raised an excellent question with me prior to the council meeting. If you looked at the tax rolls in Valley Vista, there are accessory dwelling units on a few of those homes, and one EDU equals one single family home. So in Valley Vista, under the 1959 lighting and landscaping laws, they made the adjustment in 2003 and they added 0.25 homes to those properties with ADUs. So the ADUs add more square footage, more people to your property. So it was a feeling in 2003 that those properties would pay 0.25 more than the guy next door without an ADU. I talked to Rick Clark from Harrison Associates, the engineer who put this community facilities district together in 2018, and he said that he didn't recall that issue ever coming up. And so, quite frankly, it didn't come up and it wasn't adjusted for. So as the mayor pointed out, really good observation, is that all of the units with ADUs or not are being billed one EDU each. So there's no accounting for the accessory dwelling units on those properties. So in order to change your community facilities district and then add something like that, or to add a piece of work that you need done or something like that, it does require a revote. So you'd have to go out and do a Proposition 218 vote and send out ballots to all the property owners and change it in that regard. So basically that's where Rick Clark left us tonight, was it wasn't considered, and so it wasn't added into this formula. So Mayor, thank you for pointing that out, and I hope that's a complete enough answer. With that, that's all I have for this item.
Thank you very much. Thanks for answering that question. Questions, comments, and concerns from the council. Vice Mayor Flores.
No comment.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Friels.
No comment, thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Freeman.
Yes, I do have a question for City Manager Reynolds. Are we anticipating, excuse me, increasing the assessments for those properties with an ADU in Rancho Vista? Are we going to do that in the future, or now, or ever, or not?
I think we have an opportunity between now and December to meet with the community. That works so well with Valley Vista, to invite Rancho Vista and Copperleaf to the library or wherever, and just meet with them and talk to them about where they are and see if we can get a consensus. No, I think it was just pointing out a difference between the two types of districts and the way we formed one 15 years after we formed the other. So it's just, shouldn't they be the same? And the answer is all maybe. So I don't know that we're considering it. I just something that came up as a question prior to tonight's presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, discussion for another meeting, whether we want to do the Prop 218 vote after having town hall meetings to keep all the districts the same. I'd like to now open the public hearing. Do we have any questions, comments, or concerns from the public?
If you would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand or dial *9 now. We have Jacqueline Zischke. And Jacqueline, when you enter the meeting, please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Welcome. Hi, Jacqueline, welcome.
Hi, this is Jacqueline Ziske. Are we on 5A? Something cut out there. I just wanted to make sure this is comment for 6A.
Not yet, Jacqueline. We're still on 5B.
This
Oh,
is
I'm
5B.
sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I saw another screen pop up. I'll leave.
Thank you.
I won't leave. I mean, I'll just leave for now.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, there are no other public comments.
Thank you very much. I'm now closing public comment for this hearing. Can I please have a motion to adopt the resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista approving the levying of the annual special tax for the Community Facilities District number 2018-01 for fiscal year 2021-2022.
So moved.
Thank you very much, Councilmember
I'll second.
Freeman. Thank you very much, Councilmember Freeman. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Vice Mayor Flores,
Yes.
Councilmember Friels,
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan,
Yes.
and that was resolution 2021-37. It passed with a 401 vote. Councilmember Edge absent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well done all. Thank you for your questions, comments, and concerns. 6A. Action items. Adopt a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista approving a reimbursement agreement with Meritage Homes of California, Inc. for the construction of a roundabout at the intersection of First Street and Lavanino Drive. City
Thank you,
Manager?
Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll introduce this report. And we have our city engineer and city attorney with us as well. Let's see. There we go. Okay. In blue, I have Meritage responsibility, and in red, I've described responsibilities that the city needs to work out with the adjacent property owner, the Loezas. And so this is where we've started most recently. This is the recent history. In December 2020, the building plans that Meritage provided for the new roundabout were approved by the city. It was ready to be built. And in January 2021, the city council convened a town hall regarding the traffic plan during construction. And the traffic plan was approved for construction, allowing one lane to be open at all times on First Street. And then on February 2021, city brought back an effort to reach agreement with the Loezas regarding the dedication of 5,000 square feet approximately of right-of-way. That was approved, but we did not execute by the property owner, and the direction changed course. The property owner Loezas hired an attorney, and they chose not to dedicate the right-of-way by deed rather than by parcel map. So it changed things, and we've been in negotiations with them since then until today. The parcel map, the vesting map, was slated to expire 2 years after approval, which would have been June 19th, 2021, but COVID extended that deadline by 18 months. So this removed the pressure to get the agreements in place, and what has proceeded is okay. It's a temporary license agreement that would allow the Meritage to proceed with construction. So we're in the final drafts of the license agreement with the attorney from the Loezas, and we anticipate bringing that to you in August. And so with approval of the reimbursement agreement and the license agreement, we would have the ability to finally start moving forward on our roundabout. So the reimbursement agreement was drafted this year, and the license agreement would come in August. The construction schedule is expected by the end of this week. The construction should last between 6 and 9 months. August to December, we would continue to process the Loezas parcel map and wrap up both sides of this project. complicated with the two private interests involved. But in general, this is my take on the reimbursement agreement, and the experts can correct me. It's brought forward at the request of Meritage. Meritage pointed out in a 2015 development agreement with them that if the roundabout was oversized, that they would only have to pay their fair share of the oversize. So that would be, they proposed to a maximum of 50% of the total. And I suppose if you were looking down at First Street and Lavanino Drive, you could say 50-50, half to Meritage, but it's 86 homes, so that's a lot. The city, acting on behalf of the developer, would collect traffic impact fees from future developments over a 10-year period. And then the city would pay these fees that are collected towards this agreement up to 50%. And then no city funds would go towards the cost of construction. That's why the city's willing to say, yeah, Meritage, we'll help you out, especially if you're ready to get started on the roundabout. So I'll leave it there. And Deb Ma, I don't know if you want to follow up. We received communication from the Loaiza's attorney today, and maybe you can just maybe provide some details to my summary.
Right, sure. So I, Jacqueline Ziske, who was on the previous thing, is the attorney, and I'm sure she'll want to speak as well to this matter. But basically, she felt that there was some lack of clarity on the fees, the timing of the fees that were going to be collected, and just wanted to make sure it was never the intent to have the Loaizas pay for this current project that they've already submitted and was approved, their map was approved. So it was never intent to make them part of this, and that wouldn't be the normal way that a reimbursement agreement would work. It would be the people that come after. But she wanted us to redline section 2.1 to add a sentence that said the city shall not collect fees from building applications or from already approved subdivisions, including approved tentative maps, parcel maps, or final maps. And so I'm okay with that language. I mean, it just clarifies what I think we already felt it said, but that language is okay. And then she also wanted me to add something that the Meritage would finish this project by December 31st, 2021. Both of these would be subject to Meritage approving them. I'm not sure that Meritage is going to approve that. And they may say, yeah, of course we'll be done by then, but you know, there's no way that we can enforce something in there. There's no penalty if we were to say it needs to be done. And usually when you put a time limit, it causes trouble because there's always some reason why someone doesn't make it. So anyways, we would just like the freedom. I think staff, Julie said that there was a issue she wanted to take another swipe at. And then Jacqueline Ziske also has some problems with the valuation of the Loaiza property that's at the end of that agreement. So I think what's typically done for city councils is just to approve these agreements in general form and give the staff the ability to meet with Meritage and hammer out and the Loaizas and hammer out a couple of these fine details. It's not going to change the general meaning of this agreement. So I think if you just approve it as to form tonight with us to make those changes, I think that that would serve us well, and it would get this going. I mean, the problem is that Meritage is waiting to to get this done, to put in the roundabout, and the Loaizas are waiting to dedicate till they're sure the roundabout started. So we're kind of in a hammerhead right now. We just need to move it forward. So I would say if the council just approve this to form, we could move forward tonight.
Thank you very much. I'm at a loss at who goes next. City Engineer Julie, do you have anything to add?
Yes, if I may just add to what Mr. Reynolds and Deborah Moll mentioned, that I had a conversation with a project manager for Meritage this afternoon, and they mentioned that the only thing that they're waiting for is the right to enter the property or have some sort of a construction licensing agreement. And as a matter of fact, right before this meeting, they did send me a meeting invite for pre-construction. So that demonstrates that they are ready to move forward. And as soon as we could finish the getting the right of entry or the construction licensing agreement, we could get this project rolling. That's all I had to add at this point.
Thank you very much. And Attorney Jacqueline Ziske?
Your hand. Did you want to ask the council if they had any questions, Mayor?
I do. I just want to see if she has anything else to add.
Jacqueline, please unmute yourself as you enter.
There we go. Hi, welcome back.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry. This is my first Zoom, so I apologize for the technical difficulties. So Mayor and City Council members, my name is Jacqueline Ziske, and I do represent Rosa and Edmundo Loaiza, who are the property owners across the street that will be dedicating this property. I think in concept, I don't think the Loaizas would object to an approval in concept. I would appreciate if you could approve the reimbursement agreement with the language that City Attorney Deb Mall just recited to you. And that would be to the provision in section 2.1 that the city would not be collecting development fees for building permit applications or for already approved subdivisions, and that would include tentative maps, parcel maps, and final maps. In response to Ms. Bazid's comment regarding waiting for the construction license, we have provided a construction license to the city. The Loaizas have been waiting a very long time for the construction of these improvements, and it's important to them because based on the improvements that the city has asked the Loaizas to construct, the roundabout becomes necessary for them to pursue the development of their project. So the construction license agreement that we submitted did make provision for a completion date for the completion of these improvements. So it's very important to them that we have a completion date. But other than that, the Loaizas are fully willing to and have always been willing to provide the documents necessary, the interest necessary for Meritage to go ahead and get that construction going. In reference to the last line, it's the last line on the last exhibit of the agreement. There is an estimated value of I think $10,000 for the property that will be dedicated. And I think maybe I would propose that instead of keeping that value in the document, if we could just have that as an estimate to be determined or a value to be determined. It's just so low, it's so far off what the fair market value is for the property. I would object to that value being included into the agreement. And with that, I think I'm not sure if Ms. Loaiza is on. She might have some additional comments, but that will complete my comments tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, questions, comments, and concerns from the council. Vice Mayor Flores.
I have no comment. I have some questions, but I'm not sure if it's the right question. Where's the money coming from? That's all I'm.
So it doesn't come from the city, it comes from development fees. So when the next people come in and they have a project that needs use of this oversizing from the traffic circle, then we can charge them fees for that. And those fees will go over then to the developer.
Okay, thank you. That clears up something for me.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Friels.
I have a couple questions. This roundabout, this was part of, this was a condition of approval, wasn't it? Don?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So they knew they had to build it. I don't understand the oversized part. Can somebody explain to me oversized?
I think I need Julie to do that.
Initially, when we started talking to Meritage, we had several conversations back and forth that they were looking into basically sizing the roundabout, which accommodate, you know, the traffic going around that, and then not necessarily having the landscaping portion of it. So when we went back, looked at the conditions of approval, we required the roundabout to be the size that not only it's safe for the traffic, as well as we still have the landscape portion in the center of the roundabout. And the idea is that the city would like to look at this roundabout as a kind of an entry statement to the city. So it was very important for us to have the size that can accommodate the landscaping and also the safety of the traffic. And I am not 100% agreeing with the term of oversized, you know, roundabout, but it could be looked at as maybe it's a little bit larger than what the minimum size that it could be. And I'm not sure, hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah. Yeah, so when we originally started dealing with this issue, they were under the impression that First Street was still a truck route. And they were kind of freaking out a little bit because it was going, they were under the impression they have to build a roundabout the size to accommodate for big rigs, because it was, First Street, 4th Street, and parts of Monterey were taken off the truck route. That truck route was abolished, gosh, 20 years, almost 20 years ago. So it still showed it on the county coming into San Juan, it was a truck route, but as soon as you hit San Juan, it wasn't. So that's why I was asking, because they thought they were going to have to build a roundabout to, you know, to accommodate for big rigs. To me, it doesn't seem like it's any bigger roundabout than the ones they put in Gilroy. So I don't understand that. So Dawn, I got this one for you. I just don't understand why they're getting paid back when they agreed to begin with to build this roundabout. I don't understand this. I mean, they've been dragging their feet on this thing for almost 5 years now.
It's not a guarantee that they'll get paid back. If there aren't any more future developments, maps approved, et cetera, then they could get nothing from this. Yeah.
Well, the only future development would be the Loaizas, and I understand what they're asking for. How long have the Loaizas been waiting for this? They said something about their permits. I thought we were moving along with them pretty smoothly. I'm a little confused with that too.
Yeah, if I may interject, Don, I'm sorry. With respect to the parcel map is in the process. As a matter of fact, the parcel map is almost complete. And the items that we are working on right now is the subdivision. I mean, it's the improvement agreements. And there are a couple items, council member feels that we're talking about it, discussing it. You may want to call them negotiating, but one of the examples, a good example would be that Loaizas have not completed the underground utilities, you know, as far as undergrounding the overhead utilities. And as we're all aware of it, is that working with PG&E could take months. And that process, the city was just found out just a couple months ago that process hasn't even started it. So, you know, just to summarize the status of the project right now, the parcel map is near completion. There are other items, on the other hand, that are in the process. The city has done their due diligence. We have returned the comments back to Loaizas, and we're waiting for them to address the comments and send back another set of submittals. So with respect to the map, the improvement agreements, and the other documents, we are waiting for Loaizas. We are not holding any documents up right now.
Okay, Thank you. I appreciate that.
Sure.
How much real estate are we talking that they're going to have to give up, or they're going to, I guess, gift to us eventually?
I
How much-
believe it's, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I think it's approximately about 5,400 square feet. And I think this is a good time to address the question that Louisa's attorney brought up. The dollar amount that is listed in the total cost for the roundabout that is included in the reimbursement agreement. I had similar questions for Meritage, and we did have a conversation about all these dollar amounts that are listed. And based on the agreement that we're signing with them under section 2.3 under reimbursement, it says the city engineer will review the supporting documentation, and we have to agree. They have to provide us with the invoices. They have to provide us with the actual cost and everything else when it gets to the point that they want to get reimbursed. One of the costs that I mentioned to them was that they just threw a $10,000, value to the property that is being dedicated to the city. And they mentioned the same thing. They said, we have no appraisal. We don't know how much that. So once this city agreed to a dollar amount, we could certainly, at the time that we'll go back and revisit this number, we could go ahead and change it. So I know Mr. Reynolds have been working with some real estate, agent that he has been dealing with, or appraisal. Don, would you like to mention where the dollar amount came from, or how much the property is valued at this point?
So, thank you, Julie. The intent in February was to come to an agreed upon appraisal firm and get an appraisal of the property, but to let the deed be transferred to the city so the construction could begin. So we've abandoned that idea, but I'm totally open to negotiating. I think the city and Louisa's have to reach a fair market value for that property, right? And that's the whole principle behind eminent domain, and that's the whole principle behind the law. We can't value it just to our own benefit. That's the abuse of government power, by all means. No disagreement there. So when I saw the estimates from the Louisas, they were estimating that it'd be a value as a vacant lot in a residential tract ready to be developed for residential housing. I hired Ray Pierce to go out and take a look at this. He's been selling real estate in our city for 30 years. And he came to us and said, not a chance. He didn't agree with that at all. And he gave me a written quote that the city didn't pay for. He just offered it to us for the benefit of the city at about $11,000 for the vacant piece of land without utilities. It's currently being farmed or it's vacant. So whether we have two very different opinions, and that's okay. And that wasn't supposed to slow down the process. In the original proposal in February, we were going to agree on a single appraiser and agree to the results of that appraisal. And that could be credited against contributions of any kind of impact fee. That was the proposal we had on the table. The value that we agreed upon would be a credit to the Louisas for future fees and costs in the development. So we estimated $50,000 per house on impact fees. So that's $200,000 in impact fees alone that are on the table that could be used to reimburse the Louisas for their parcel. So that wasn't, it wasn't clear to me why that was referenced in the letter. And I see now I better understand that it's in the detail in this cost estimate. But for me, in my opinion, that was to be decided at a later date
Yes.
in an agreed upon mutual manner.
Okay, no, that makes sense. Okay. No more questions. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Freeman.
Yes, follow up on what Scott was saying. Follow up on what Scott was saying. I have a couple of questions on the Meritage agreement. It appears to me that it states that they can accept reimbursements up to 50%, but the two proposals we have for additional developments, the Hillside Vistas is coming in at 27 homes, and the Louisas, I'm not certain of the number, but I think it's 9. And so when you add 27 and 9 together, you get 36. but the Meritage homes have 85. So in my opinion, the Meritage should pay for the percentage above 50% because they're more than 2/3 of the traffic that would be generated at that roundabout. That being said, I am strongly in favor of the roundabout. Meritage has been a very, how can I put this diplomatically, slow learner. Dan and I told them many times at city council meetings why we wanted the roundabout there, and they kept saying, no, we can't have it, the trucks can't fit. I actually said to them, that's right, we do not want the trucks to fit. And the engineer didn't understand that, and I repeated myself again. This is about 3 or 4 years ago. And finally, I think they got it through into why we want the roundabout there. And a large reason is to keep truck traffic out of San Juan. And so I'm just in favor of pushing forward however we can and get it done. Let's just do it.
So just for your edification, fees aren't exactly collected that way. It isn't like there's 50% of this $600 left or 600,000 left, and then the next person that comes around has to pay that. There's, a year of law school where you learn about nexus and, so it's going to be based on what the person contributes, to the traffic problem or the traffic or to the use of the intersection that is going to determine what their fee is, not what's owed of the 600,000. So I don't know if I made that very clear, but
that's exactly what I was trying to say. Is
right.
Meritage has a nexus of 85 homes, and the other 2 developers have a nexus of maybe 36 homes. So I'm
right. We're not going to overcharge them. Yeah. We were bound by all that year of law school and all that constitutional law that says what we can charge them for fees.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So this oversizing is not in any way going to contribute to big rigs and truck traffic coming through.
I'm sorry, if no, it's not as far as a truck, right?
It's not a truck route.
No.
I understand that, and I'm sure all of the truckers who come through here understand that it's not a truck route, yet it is very much so a truck route. So when the first big rig comes through, when this is in place, will they be able to get around it?
Hopefully not.
When we did the design for the roundabout, we made sure that all this safety truck, like fire trucks, any buses going through, school buses and all that, that the roundabout can accommodate those type of vehicles. But I do not believe that we included any oversized, trucks that they cannot go through the city at that point. But I'll be more than happy to look into it one more time. But I'm sure we did have a number of conversations that the only oversized vehicle that it would accommodate are the one that has to do with the fire safety trucks and like the school buses.
So when the first big rig comes through, it will be stopped and potentially take out all our beautiful landscaping and have to back up. Correct?
No, there is. Go ahead, Don. Sorry.
No, at the best of our ability, right? We should have cameras there as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Okay. I because everybody says GPS, put me through this, and thank you, Valerie Eglin, for jumping on the cabs of vehicles. I am not the only one that does that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Stopping these vehicles from going through the town, and they hold up their phone and they say, GPS told me. And I said, did you not see the 3 or 4 signs at either entrance Sorry, I am pointing towards First Street and the entrance to San Juan at Monterey. All of the signage that says you are not allowed here, and they go. So anything we can do to thwart that effort is great. And with the understanding that, yes, we do need to get the bus through, and for sure the fire engines and whatever other vehicles they need. So the Luizas, one more question, sorry. The Luizas will once again dedicate this piece of property to us?
That's part of the-
So we're
Part of the
getting a
parcel.
construction license right now from them. And then the value and the dedication and everything should be done on the map.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, and one more time clarification, we are not putting, the city of San Juan Bautista is not putting out any money. We are collecting the money and will in turn pay back Meritage any fees that are collected. Correct? Thank you.
Correct.
And then I just lost my train of thought, sorry. This does not include the hillside development, or will not include them. They will not be included in the payback, nor will Luiza's. We won't be collecting fees from either one of those developments. Is that correct?
If I may,
Oh, wait.
go ahead. When we talk about Luiza's, we're talking about the parcel map that they has filed. If there's going to be future development, that is not part of, but yeah, for this current map that we are reviewing, this reimbursement does not apply to that parcel map.
Because it's already in.
Yes.
Okay.
With the
Thank you very
hillside,
much for,
oh,
Go
no,
ahead.
just with the hillside, I would have to look at that more closely. I'm just trying to get up to speed on it now as the developers, again, expressing interest. I believe those maps were approved, but I don't believe the impact fees were collected. So the language proposed on the table now, I would need to compare that to what's been approved for Hillside as to whether or not they'd be contributing or not, because their map has already been approved. So I would need to look at that and understand
you.
it better.
okay. Thank you very much.
Madam Mayor, can I ask one more question of the city manager, please?
Please, yes, go ahead.
Okay, so I just need to clarify this. And so in the future, we will collect traffic impact fees from, let's say, a small subdivision or large subdivision. And we're going to take some of that money and we're going to give it to Meritage. Is that the way, is that what I'm understanding?
If they're related to the oversizing of this traffic circle. So staff would somehow have to make that determination, whether they're contributing, whether their project needs this oversized traffic circle.
If I may add to what was just mentioned, what we need to do after moving forward with this reimbursement agreement, what we need to do, we need to come up with the benefit zone. What are the projects and what are the zones that are benefiting from this roundabout? We still need to work on that and then come up with future development, proposed development that are going to be benefiting from this roundabout. And we will come up with, as these development come forward, we need to look at the units. We need to find out how much and how each subdivision will benefit from this, and then how much fee, the impact fee they have to pay. So none of these numbers have worked out. We haven't got to the step where we come up with the benefit zone and all that. Those are all the work that we need to work on it and come up with those figures that it will definitely something that it needs to be all the developers, they need to be notified, they need to be aware of it. And as the city attorney mentioned, this is something that we need to make sure that we need to follow all the steps that everybody is aware of it. These are part of the fees that is going to be imposed on the developers.
Okay, so developer shows up and he or she sees this list of all these impact fees. Is this going to be one more impact fee added to the list, or is this going to come out of the traffic impact fee that we already have established?
No, this would be an additional fee to
Okay,
the impact fee, and then it would only apply to this area, this benefit zone area that are benefiting from the roundabout, not the entire city. It would be just those certain developments that will benefit from this roundabout.
And if there is nobody, then there is no reimbursement to Meritage or payment to Meritage.
Correct.
okay. Thank you.
So I guess that would be saying that Meritage is still paying for the roundabout.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for all the questions and all of the clarifications. I'd like to ask for a motion, please.
Mayor, we have members of the public.
Oh, I'm sorry. That took a while.
Sorry,
Forgot all
Shauna.
about-
Sorry, City Clerk, go ahead.
That's fine. Thank you very much. Do we have any public comment?
We do have Jacqueline once again, and I will note she had about 30 seconds left. Would you like to let her go ahead and finish off that 30 seconds? Okay.
Sure.
Jacqueline,
Thank you.
please unmute yourself as you enter.
Hi, Jacqueline. Welcome back.
Hi, thanks for having me back. I just had one comment regarding the Loaiza parcel map to clarify something that Ms. Bazad had said, and that relates to utility work and working with PG&E to deal with the utilities. Ms. Bazad talked about it taking months to work with PG and on those types of issues. In fact, it takes years to work on that, and it's usually done after the parcel maps are accepted and recorded. So the process has already been started, and so I just wanted to clarify that because we really would like to work with the city on moving forward with the parcel map and getting everything accomplished, because that will be how the dedication piece will be dedicated to the city. So we can't really wait for PG&E. We need to move forward in advance of that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, our next speaker is Lori Wilson. Lori, please unmute yourself as you enter.
Hi, Lori. Welcome.
Hi, sorry. Actually, this is town time enough.
Hi, Lori. Welcome.
So just a couple of comments. One, I agree with the city engineer. If it's not an oversized roundabout, it shouldn't be called that. So let's name it what it is. Second off, and I'm sure that Councilmember Frills will appreciate this, it needs to be confirmed that not only for bus traffic, but for fire apparatus, that the roundabout is adequately sized.
Yes.
And last, to Mayor Jordan's comment, I'm sure the truck turn radius study was done. That should be made public, and it should be made available so that the public can review it. Because we all know that truck traffic coming into town is a nightmare, and it's a problem, and it's not been addressed. So I think that everybody needs to understand what the actual, and this is on a plan that everybody can see, a truck turn radius study that's been done, so everybody understands up front what's going to go on with this thing when it's actually constructed. And last, I would just say that I completely agree with the attorney about the time it takes to do business with PG&E, but PG&E is not the only player here. What about the rest of the utilities that have to go into the ground to support this project? I think that should be addressed and communicated to everyone as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And lastly, we have the liaisons. One moment.
Do we have it? Thank you very much.
Please unmute yourself.
Thank you and welcome.
Muted.
Hang on, it takes a moment. Hi, will whoever is speaking for the Loaizas, please unmute yourself. Oops, we lost them.
There are no other public comments.
Okay, thank you very much. We did work with the fire department on their trucks, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Okay, I would like to now ask for a motion to approve the reimbursement.
I would like to make a motion to approve the reimbursement agreement with the changes suggested by both attorneys. They agreed. There was suggestions made, and I make the motion that we make those changes and approve it.
Would just add that you give staff the flexibility to make changes. If Meritage doesn't agree, that you give us the flexibility. The agreement will be substantially in the same form, but give us the ability to make minor changes.
That's my motion.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second to approve this resolution in general form?
I'll second it.
Thank you very much. May I have a roll call, please?
Vice Mayor Flores,
Yes.
Councilmember Friels,
No.
Councilmember Freeman,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan,
Yes.
and that is resolution 2021-38. That motion passes with a 3-1-1 vote. Councilmember Friels voting no, Councilmember Edge absent.
I'm sorry, may I have the resolution number again?
2021-38.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Uh, 6B, approve amended job description for the City of San Bautista Office Assistant. City Manager.
Thank you. I'll share my screen here quickly. Your screen should be before you now. This is a follow-up to the adoption of our budget, where we added back the office assistant position, and it is in the budget now. It's part of rebuilding city services. The full-time office assistant position has been vacant since December 2019. The incumbent also performed public information work and IT coordination, keeping our website current, monitoring our social media, and coordinating calls for service to our IT contract service provider. During the COVID climate that we were in last year, the library lead library tech was reassigned to help us with accounts payable, to help us with social media and public information. And so she is called back to the library currently as it has reopened, and it's time that we move forward and fill this position and relieve those duties from her plate. It also helps us to consider keeping City Hall open longer hours because we have more help in the building to answer phones and cover for vacations and so forth. So it's a critical position. And I went out and looked at 4 other cities, some cities comparable to ours, other cities in the area, Morgan Hill, Gilroy, Cupertino. And I always like looking at the city of Ojai for some reason. They're on that top 10 little cities list. So I always look at their job descriptions. And you were either a public information officer person or an office assistant. But in our small city, we can't afford both positions. So we're hoping to get lucky and find some qualified applicants that could accommodate both skills, working the QuickBooks and the accounts payable, and then helping us with our public information. So that's where we've come to in drafting this new job description. And with that, the city manager recommends approval of the new job description at salary range 53, which is the same as the incumbent was making with the cost of living adjustment recently approved to the city council. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Questions, comments, or concerns from the council? Vice Mayor Flores.
No comments, no concerns. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Friels.
A quick question on the PIO. Don, will we be training this person to be a public information officer?
Well, I referred to it as a clerk, and that's pretty much the role that we've had without any training. So we really appreciate the best efforts put out by the lead library tech. But yes, there should be training. I have had training after the Sobranes fire. I was trained in being a PIO, and I had certain well. So I think I would be the one on camera along with the mayor in case there was a press conference or something like that. This person would be mostly loading documents onto the website, helping post our agendas, and just monitoring social media and letting myself know when there's a concern or some mistruth out there amidst the audience. So I called it a public information clerk, but I couldn't find such a position. So I'm being creative here.
Okay, thank you. We do need the spot, and yes, I agree with you on you being the PIO. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Freeman.
No real questions. It sounds like a good idea and it's really needed. So I'm completely in favor of it.
Thank you. Could we call this position, I mean, we seem to be adding titles on extra titles onto new staff. Just call it an office, call it an office assistant with the job duties of web management and things like that as part of the job duties, instead of having a public information clerk added to it.
Yeah, I suppose we could do that. This happens all the time. There'll be a general classification, and then they'll be assigned to specific duties or departments. So a city will take an office assistant position and say, hey, you're assigned to the police department and you're going to deal with police records all day. And then they refine it as they need it. So that's fine. I'm happy with that change, Mayor. We would certainly advertise the public information side of the request to see if we can get them both. So,
oh, absolutely. I definitely agree that that those job duties are required, and I definitely think that training should be involved, and what language can or cannot be used, and for a moment that language be approved by somebody else instead of a carte blanche on, here you go, here's our social media page, have at your bad self. So training and close supervision needs to be provided up in the very beginning at least, so they get a feel for what we're looking for in the best interest of the city. Great. Do we have any public comment on this?
If you'd like to make a public comment, please raise your hand or dial *9. We have no public comments, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the office assistant's job description.
So moved.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second? I'm sorry.
You have
Thank
a
you very
second.
much. Thank you. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, this is resolution 2021-39. Vice Mayor Flores,
Aye.
Councilmember Friels,
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan.
Yes.
And that motion passes with a 4-0-1. Councilmember Edge absent.
Thank you very much. 6C, designate a voting delegate and alternate for the League of California Cities Annual Conference and Expo, September 22nd through the 21st, 2021.
All right.
City Manager, take it away.
Thank you, Mayor. Annual appointment of delegates. They're actually inviting us to Sacramento, but space is running out. So if the council would like to attend the League of California Cities Conference, it's this September 22nd to the 24th. And the League of California Cities does a lot for big cities and small cities too. They advocate for housing policies and other initiatives to the governor and the legislature. And so what the delegates do is they show up and they approve a legislative slate, if you will, that, hey, these are the priorities that our city has. And so if our city wants a voice in what the league does on our behalf, then we approve these delegates and we attend these meetings and we vote in accordance with the values of San Juan Bautista. Last year, Jordan and Flores were selected as delegate and alternate. So with that, I'll leave that to the council's discussion.
Thank you very much. Questions, comments, concerns? Vice Mayor Flores.
I remember going to this and it was very informative and I made a lot of connections, you had a lot of networking, got a lot of answers, and yeah, I'd like to go. I didn't get to vote, but you know, I was an alternate.
Thank you. Councilmember Friels.
I have been to the league. I'm gonna see if there's what they have as far as classes. I have been to a couple of classes. I was able to see one of my all-time heroes, Ronnie Coleman, speak. So he was a state fire marshal. Well, if Cesar didn't get to vote last year, maybe he should get to vote this year, and maybe John can go with him. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Councilmember Freeman, questions, comments, concerns?
Unfortunately, I can't attend this year. I'll be out of town.
Thank you very much. I was the voting delegate last year with Vice Mayor Flores. I am happy to do it again. I would like to attend this also. I will be attending also, and whether I'm a voting delegate or the alternate. Questions, comments, and concerns from the public?
If you'd like to make a public comment, please raise your hand or dial *9 now. We have no public comments, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. Can I get a motion for a volunteer to attend as a voting member and an alternate? And this is not to say that you cannot attend, but you will be attending as a voting member or as the alternate.
Can we just volunteer?
Well, we need to have a motion and a second for who those members will be.
Okay, I'll move that Vice Mayor Flores goes as the voting delegate and our mayor, Leslie Jordan, goes as the, what is the alternate?
Alternate.
I'll second.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, do I have a second?
Yes.
Thank you very much. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Vice Mayor Flores,
Aye.
Councilmember Friels,
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan,
Yes.
and that motion passes with a 4-0 to 1 vote, Councilmember Edge being absent.
Thank you very much. Cesar Flores will be our voting delegate and myself as the alternate. And again, I'm sorry, John, that you won't be able to make it, but Scott, if you want to attend, you will absolutely have that opportunity. 6D, adopt a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista approving a resolution adopting a policy on displaying of flags at the city facilities. Staff report, Attorney Deborah Mall.
Okay, do you have something there, Don, to put on the screen or?
Sure,
Okay.
sure, just a few.
All right, so basically, as you know, in June, we flew the pride flag on the San Juan Bautista flagpole, and without a real policy in place to govern how we choose flags to be flown. And the problem with that is, as a government agency, then the First Amendment kicks in and citizens can make requests for just about any flag. It could be, there's a case, the Nazis, marching in Skohigi where they had to be allowed. So you could have any kind of speech there and the city would have to accommodate that speech without having a policy in place. So basically, I looked at the policies, and this fortunately just came up for the city of San Pablo. And I pinched the constitutional analysis from the city attorney there, Tracy Lynn Nerlander, who I thank because I did not want to write a law review on the display of flags on city property, and nor did you want to pay me to write a law review. So I also borrowed heavily from their policy. And basically what it provides, what's essential here to the city council, because there's rules about flag displaying, but what's essential to the city council is that only the city council members can bring up the idea of displaying a different flag other than the US flag, the California flag, or any flags of San Juan Bautista. And then it comes to a regular meeting of the city council and you vote on it. And the reason this policy is legal, this goes to the whole analysis, which goes in the record, but I'm not going to go into it tonight. Basically, under the First Amendment, the government is allowed to have speech, kind of like the government has speech in a newsletter. And so the courts have said that's legal. So if we make it government speech, so it just is the speech or the ideas of the city council, then we can limit it that far. And as far as, I know this issue came up in Hollister about a religious flag. So those are banned. There's under the Constitution, we have the freedom to practice religion and the freedom from having your government impose religion upon you. So the freedom to practice religion, that doesn't really impinge upon that by telling groups that we won't display religious symbols there. In fact, it's something we're kind of required to do as a city. And then the freedom from, that means that we can't impose any religion on any other, on the citizens in your town. So you can't fly a Star of David, you can't fly a Muslim flag, because then you'd be imposing your religious point of view as a government on citizens, and that's not allowed under the US Constitution or under the California Constitution. So the only other thing you need to know here is that also under California law, we're not allowed to put anything about elections there or any kind of like political point of views of the city council. So that's also part of the policy, that we're not allowed to do electoral speech on the flagpoles. So the policy, has a few provisions in there about how the flags are displayed, which we don't have now. And we can scrape that, but this was all in reaction to a citizen that came forward and wanted to display a Right to Life flag during the Right to Life month in September. And so that's why a policy kind of needed to be in place so that we could have that policy there to be passed by resolution, to have in place so that we could have some control as a city over the message on the flagpole. And I'd be happy to answer any questions, but don't ask me about the Lemon v. Kurtzman 3-prong test. Although that was on the bar, I don't want to talk about it.
Thank you very much. Don, I'm sorry, can you put that slide back up?
Sure.
Please. Thank you. Questions, comments, and concerns from the council? Vice Mayor Flores.
No, I reviewed this whole thing and I see that it's very well authored or written. And I totally agree with it.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Friels.
Yeah, I also read through the policy. It's very thorough. The only concern I have is the property that City Hall sits on was donated by the Nyland family, and it's a memorial to Arthur Nyland Jr., who was killed in action in World War II. He was the second native son from San Juan to pass. And I see that flagpole as a memorial to him, the one on City Hall. I have absolutely no problem with anybody flying a flag, but maybe with this whole Luck Library thing, maybe we should put another flagpole up, and that could be the flagpole. I don't know, lack of a better term, special interest flagpole. I just see that City Hall flagpole as a memorial to a fallen hero. And if you read the after action report, you would probably agree with me on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Freeman.
Yes, I pretty much agree that it's really well-written essay on flying flags, and I'm in favor of it. And I do like Scott's idea of having the additional flags maybe at the library. I think that's a great place for it. There's room. I know we're going to have a discussion in a few minutes on the Lek Park, and maybe the landscape architects can take that into consideration also. That's it. That's all I got.
Thank you very much. We do have a flagpole at the library, which is on the park grounds. And we did fly the pride flag there as well. Just an FYI to everybody. Deborah, thank you for writing this. I spent hours looking up law, and I am not a lawyer, nor do I play one on TV. So I appreciate all the work that went into doing this. Can I have, do we have any public comment?
If you'd like to make a public comment, please raise your hand. Dial *9 now. We have no public comments in there.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista adopting a policy on the display of flags at city facilities?
I make a motion.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you very much. Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Flores.
Aye.
Councilmember Friels.
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman.
Yes.
Mayor Jordan.
Aye.
And that motion passes with a 4-1 and Councilmember Edge absent.
Thank you very much. Discussion items, review of the draft Luck Park Master Plan.
Thank you, Mayor. We're pleased to introduce to you Melanie Mills from the RRM group and her team, Anna Schmitz. They've been working really hard since last August with the community, deeply engaged with the community as we can be amidst COVID, finding some creative ways to do that. I think they've done a lot of hard work also with our planning commission most recently. So we're bringing to you a Luck Park Master Plan that has gone through several different renditions and including feedback and input from our planning commission most recently 6 weeks ago. So with that, Melanie has a detailed presentation, and I'd ask that she share her screen with us and walk us through the process, unless Anna wants to do that.
Welcome, Melanie. Welcome, Anna.
Thank you, Dawn. Let me share my screen here. Oh,
I shared Anna's as well. So
okay, there we go. And screen 2. All right, great. Is that screen up for you?
yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Terrific. Well, good evening. Thank you, Dawn. Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. I'm Melanie Mills with landscape architect with RM Design, and I'm here tonight with Anna, and we're going to present the Luck Park Master Plan project to you. Let me see if there we go. I'm sure you're all extremely familiar with the location of the park. Here it is outlined in yellow on this aerial. We just wanted to come back tonight and provide a recap of the work that's been done to date, and then present the draft final master plan to you. So just some quick overview and background. The Luck Museum was built in 1919. It's now home to the Historic Society and houses the archives. The whole site of the park was donated to the city in '74, and there was a master plan completed at that time, actually in '79. At this time, the city seeks to expand the library building for community uses and to provide enhancements to the museum building. And RRM was brought on board to help with this process. Here you can see an overview of all of the stages of design and outreach that have been carried out to date. We started back in August of 2020, and now here we are, July of 2021, presenting to City Council. Overview of the process. We began with on-site meetings, working with stakeholders, and also doing online surveys. Due to COVID, we had to pivot and do things a little bit differently. From that came alternative concepts that were presented to the community multiple times. So Luck Park today, you can see in this area, the initial direction we received from the city is to expand the library building for community uses and to provide improvements to the museum access systems, accessible restroom, and some of the drainage issues that exist. And then to provide outdoor spaces for the community at the site, to make sure the walkways are accessible, to include a stage and performance area, and to provide low maintenance, drought tolerant landscape, and also additional parking. Here are some images of the park today. Just quick, I'll fly through these if I can. The community, an online survey was carried out. It went out in the utility bills. It was advertised online. 169 surveys were completed. 122 of the surveys were from people who live within walking distance. And some highlights of those kinds of things that people would like to do, enjoy peaceful, quiet setting, watch a performance, play games, have a picnic. Kinds of features they'd like to see: shaded seating, flexible picnic tables, a walking loop, and other features and elements that folks would like to see. Basketball came up, music events, and a dog park. Of the community online survey, the highest ranking elements that exist there currently: mature trees, the open lawn, the Jim Jack cabin, and the historic fire truck. So two alternative designs were presented to the community. Some of the big differences between these were the location of the stage, the location of a natural play area for children, and then also other big moves on these were the relocation of the fire truck and the relocation of Jim Jack cabin. We presented these in an online meeting, and folks were able to join in with a Slido poll so that we had instant results. And we discovered that the first concept, the stage located centrally and adjacent to the library, was the most popular. So we moved forward with that. We also learned that that alternative features that focus on community uses were very popular. We also learned that the fire truck staying and Jim Jack cabin being relocated near the library building were also popular. Alternative, this is the alternative A. And we learned that the stage and community space, this is a cloud, word cloud that came out of that meeting. And these are the big words, are the things that people told us the most frequently: performance area, walking loop, stage, and community space. When they looked at alternative B, they liked multi-generational games and relocating the Jim Jack, and not a fan. So we took that to heart. This is just a slide showing a lot of different comments that were captured during that meeting and rolled into the further development of the plan. And again, these are more things that people wanted to see change that were captured and rolled in. A couple of things, this is a capture of the questions and concerns that came up, and some of the issues that we heard were the lack of a basketball court, concerns about noise impacting residents, wanting more community input, and avoiding unsafe hiding places. And just to kind of report back on those, the city's looking for alternative locations that are more appropriate for basketball. The stage would be designed such that noise would be attenuated, and also there would be controls on the types of concerts that could have there, that could occur to keep the noise down. Additional community input was carried out with another presentation that went to Planning Commission to address that concern, and hiding places would be avoided with appropriate landscape. So the preferred concept incorporated this list of revisions from that round of review from Planning Commission, and these went into draft master plan concept, which has been further revised based on the Planning Commission hearing input. And so these are the notes, some of the comments from the Planning Commission hearing, that the fire department bell should not be located at the park site. There were concerns about the trees, that the existing trees to remain. And so this is just a note that 22 existing trees are on site. In the proposed plan, 3 parking lot trees were to be removed but replaced. 3 on-site trees would be removed to provide ADA access, and a total of 33 new trees would be proposed. So just wanted to address that concern about trees. There was another comment about diagonal parking on Tuolumne, and that not being correct, but that angled parking is there to align with some future street improvements, which you'll see on the next draft final master plan concept. So with that round of comments from the Planning Commission and also from members of the Historic Society and Library Auxiliary, another list of revisions to the draft final master plan was developed, and I know Don wants me to go fast, so I'm just going to jump straight to the draft final master plan for your review. Number 1 is showing a performance area and bandstand. This is a somewhat flexible space that could have other uses when you don't have a performance. At number 2 is the flexible use open lawn. At number 3 is, you can see multiple number 3s on this site. Those are enhanced building entries with accessible, with ADA access. Number 4, these are sort of scattered about the site, and these are interpretive elements that would be developed as part of the actual park design. So these are placeholders for those interpretive elements, which could be historic, cultural. Number 5 is the idea of incorporating multi-generational games. And we'll have some other slides that follow that show photographs, examples of these types of features and where they are on the site zoomed in a little closer. So I'll go over this relatively quickly to orient you, but then we'll have some more images you can look at. Number 6 is a natural play area with seating. And number 7 is the relocated memorial bike rack, the fish. At number 8 is a fire truck building with roll-up doors. At number 9 is the library courtyard with decomposed granite and olive trees. Number 10 is an outdoor reading nook adjacent to the library in the community space. Number 11 is walking path. 12 is the relocated Jim Jack cabin with interpretive features and enhanced landscape surrounding it. Number 13 is an orchard entrance to the new community space. 14 are picnic areas. 15 is a contemplative seating area that's located between the existing museum and library with that. Number 16 is improved access at the museum restrooms. And then there's parking with the Ps indicated on all sides of the park. These are examples of the type of performance spaces that could be considered. Excuse me. These are examples of natural play. Sorry, when I talk too much, this happens sometimes. The performance and play areas. So this is a decorative historic mosaic at the performance area. Retractable shade sails overhead. Natural play with picnic. And these are some examples of historic, interpretive, and commemorative features. These type of features, educational, historic, cultural, could be scattered around the site to help tell the story of the history of San Juan Bautista. Examples here at the history, or at the museum, at the entrance plaza, you see this brown circle. That could have an interpretive element there. At the fire truck building, around adjacent to the Jim Jack cabin, some additional landscape that could be interpreted would be wildflowers that might be historic, appropriate to the time of Jim Jack. A farm stand is also something that could be included. Multi-generational activity areas and gathering spaces. These could be either fixed or they could be something that was brought to the space, depending on what was preferred. This was feedback we received. Some folks are very supportive and interested in having things like a fixed ping pong table or bag toss, multi-generational activities, games. Others are concerned that it might be too much, too busy at the park. And so these are the kinds of things that would be further explored during the actual design of the park. But we allowed the space here, and it could go either way. It could be flexible. The library courtyard without games in this slide, and the library and the park areas with the games in this slide. So this is the draft master plan concept that we're presenting this evening. And the next steps would be to take comments and input tonight, and then to move forward, we would wrap up a final master plan for the city, and then the city will take that forward to seek funding for the various improvements. And that's all I have for you. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you very much. Thanks for that presentation. Do you need some water? Okay, questions, comments, and concerns from council. Vice Mayor Flores.
No, no questions. It's very clear. I like the design.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Friels.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make a couple of the planning meetings, so my idea of getting a real museum in there doesn't look like part of the plan, but I think it looks nice. It's going to be a pretty block. So thank you for all the hard work everybody put into it.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Freeman.
Well, I just kind of like to agree with Scott here. I think the design is very good, a good upgrade. I like the fact that the fire truck is going to be still near the existing museum, which at one point in its life was a gas station. So that kind of makes sense to me. Moving the Jim Jack cabin, I don't know, that could go a number of places, but that's not a deal breaker for me. I do like the idea of having at least a few picnic tables and maybe games for the ping pong or the bean bag toss or something like that. I think that makes it more appealing for younger people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any public comment?
Mayor, we have 2 written public comments that I'll read, and then we also have 2 folks who have their hands raised. The first public comment is from Emily Renzel. Dear Mayor Jordan, members of the City Council, due to a conflicting meeting, I'll be unable to attend your meeting, so I'm submitting my comments in writing. In general, the consultant has developed a plan that responds to a wide range of public comments. It retains quite a lot of green space and trees, provides some multi-purpose picnic gaming tables, and it appears to support this as a passive park. And I believe it recommends reinstating the prior restroom at Luck Museum. Paramount to any decision about Luck Park are the terms of Francisca D. Luck bequest on January 16, 1974, of that block of land to the city of San Bautista for the sole purpose of a park, library, and a museum. To wit, number 2, said real property above described and accepted shall be distributed intact in its entirety to the city of San Bautista to be by it held, used, and maintained exclusively by it for the sole purpose of the construction and maintenance thereon of a public library, public museum, and a public park, in memory of my father, Carl Martin Luck. Emphasis is in bold. The City Council acts as trustee for Ms. Luck's bequest. It would be a lack of good faith to do otherwise. This final draft master plan should comport with Ms. Luck's bequest, and in most respects it does. That said, the will says nothing about a community center or a garage for a fire truck. A community room as part of the library makes sense and, in my opinion, would meet the terms of the will. But near doubling the size of the library for community uses is vague and probably goes well beyond the library, park, and museum uses contemplated by Ms. Luck. Community use has many definitions. Community use means a use which has the primary purpose of serving the educational, religious, recreational, and governmental needs of a general community, including but not limited to churches, educational institutions, public parks and buildings and facilities, and cemeteries. Community uses are those uses in a particular locality which provide services or facilities such as health or social services or meeting facilities to those who live or work in the locality. Community use includes child care center, community activity center, community theater, cultural facility, educational establishment, health facility, hospital, place of worship, and religious associated use. The use of the addition of the library could be clearly related to and subordinate to the library. It should be defined and limited to the intent of Ms. Luck's bequest. Similarly, a garage for the old fire truck does not need to be on public park land. For many years, this truck resided in the city's corporation yard. That's where a garage should be built. Finally, the Jim Jack cabin was moved to its current site near the museum by the San Bautista Historical Society at its expense. It makes no sense to move it to an opposite corner of the park. It should be retained in its current location to highlight by improved interpretation and landscaping. Thank you for your opportunity to comment on this draft plan. And the second written comment is from Vonda Guibert. The Jim Jack cabin was purchased by the San Bautista Historical Society, restored and relocated to its current site, all at our expense. It continues to belong to the Historical Society. We would like to see the cabin remain in its current location next to the museum. Interpret the Jim Jack cabin as a cultural resource. Sandy Leiden, historian emeritus at Cabrillo College, where we taught Asian and Asian American history beginning in 1968, is ready, willing, and able to provide this expertise. He is very familiar with Jim Jack and has been involved with the cabin since the Historical Society purchased it in 1973. Local Harvey Sandoval, professional landscaper, has also expressed his continued interest and desire to help with this project. His son also worked on the project, attaining the Boy Scout Eagle rank. The historic fire truck has only been parked under the portico at the museum a few years. We would like to see the truck return to the city's corporation yard, perhaps facing 2nd Street, and properly stored to protect it from the elements. Provide an ADA compliant pathway from the parking lot to Luck Museum and better drainage around the perimeter. Redirect sprinkler systems and drainage away from the museum. Plant drought tolerant California natives around the museum. On behalf of the Board of Directors, Vonda Guibert, President. And then we do have 2 public speakers. The first is Cherie. Cherie, when you enter, please unmute yourself.
Welcome, Cherie.
Yes, hello. With this plan, I'm kind of disappointed we didn't have a chance to put a gazebo on the park, but that's fine. But I still don't see some little ambient lighting, like warm light LED around the park, like a street, like a 3-posted light, and just kind of around the park. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And our next public comment is San Bautista Library Auxiliary. And as I move you into the meeting, please unmute yourself.
Welcome. Please let us know who's speaking.
Shall I start? Is the voice on now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good, thank you. This is Georgiana Gallardi, probably representing all of the organizations, but specifically the library auxiliary tonight. To let you know that the library auxiliary has been working with the city and with this whole library project the entire history. And we are ready and willing and able to continue that. Well, as part of the Historical Society, I would like to make the point about the Jim Jack is actually an artifact of the Historical Society, and it was placed next to the museum as a simple artifact. And I began to understand that the fire department wants a place for its truck. It occurred to me tonight, why don't we consider the fire truck and the Jim Jack both together as artifacts that should be displayed close to the museum and used perhaps as the background for some of the performances. The Jim Jack was placed by a professional because we went through the whole process with Kent Stevie, the architect historian, and anyway, to place it there. We could sit beside a fire department truck. The fire department is more than significant in San Juan Bautista's history, and it needs a place there by the museum and in that park. All of the buildings, including the library, by the time we get the money to alter it, will be subject to historical review because will be 50 years old or a lot older. Those are considerations as we go along. The Jim Jack cabin needs to be in a visible spot so that we can watch it. So does the truck. The whole community keeping its eyes on these objects has been very important to all of us. We will be available anytime with our material from the Historical Society to work with anybody who needs to have answers. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Madam Mayor, I'm sorry. There are no other public comments at this time.
Thank you very much.
May I make one comment that I neglected to make earlier?
Sure, go ahead.
The plan, thank you. I just wanted to point out, based on the input we received in the last round of Planning Commission review, that we added low-level, soft, historic, appropriate pedestrian lighting around the park. And so you'll see these little yellow circles that are located around the park, and those are symbols for the lighting. And then you'll also see a flagpole located in this interpretive area between the fire truck and the museum area is the flagpole.
Thank you. Any further discussion from the council?
I have one.
Comments? Go
Yeah, I
ahead.
have one more. What purpose does moving Jim Jack cabin serve? I'm not sure why it has to be moved. And it's, it's a couple hundred, it's 100 and some odd years old. It's pretty fragile. So anytime you move stuff like that more than once, it's risking damage. So I don't understand why it needs to be removed or moved. Is there anybody who can give me that skinny?
I'm happy to respond, or
Go ahead, Melanie. Thanks.
Okay, sure. one of the main things that we heard from stakeholder input and all of the different phases of community input was the desire for a big open lawn area that would be a multi-use space, but also during events would be available for those. And the location of the Jim Jack currently is right around in about a third of the lawn area that's currently shown. And so the idea was to open that space, to enlarge that space as much as possible for it to be, so that it could be used for all different types of activities, including people who were enjoying a performance. And the idea of moving it closer to the community building does allow for the eyes on the Jim Jack, and to also really bump up the volume on interpretation and the surrounding landscape and how that would be associated with the Jim Jack. So we just felt like it was really highlighted, and with the orchard entry, that concept seemed to gain some traction when it was presented to the community.
Okay, thank you. I still think it should stay where it belongs, but thank you. And another concern is it is pretty much the property of the Historical Society, so it doesn't seem like they want it moved. But that's just, I'm just kind of wringing their opinion now too, so thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? Do we know why it was placed where it was placed originally?
Yes, Georgiana has her hand up.
Thank you.
Georgiana, you're moving back in as a panelist. Please unmute yourself as you enter.
Right now? Yeah. Yep. You can hear me? The Jim Jack was placed there because we thought it could become a feature when that area of the park was used. We went through the planning process of saying that's where we were going to put it, and the planning commission allowed that, as well as the foundation. The access to it with the driveway and the berm that was placed there with the huge rocks on them right now to keep the cars from driving on the grass, that whole area would have been already interpreted with the willow trees and the grapevines and the mustard that were planned to put around that building. But we've been waiting, what, 12, 15 years now for the city water to be able to say that we could go ahead with it. So we've been very patient. And of course we want to leave it there. It's right near the arch where the electricity is between the two buildings. I guess you realize that there is electricity in those arches that join the back of the museum to the library. Anyway, I hope that answers your question.
It does. Thank you very much. Any other comments, discussion, concerns, questions from the council? Anything else from Melanie or Ann?
I just have one. Can I say?
Oh, go ahead.
The concept of the fire truck was exactly that, was to be a museum for volunteer firefighters. And I had provided examples and shared them with Councilmember Friels from Oregon, where it has all glass sides to it, and it has photographs and memorabilia that you can see through it. So to call it a garage is at least that wasn't my intention. I saw this idea in another city and I brought it forward, and I thought it would fit well here. And then when the idea of restoring the bell came to my attention, it seemed logical to put it next to the fire truck. So and then now I understand that through the letters that were written, that the bell is better placed back at the Polk Street apparatus bay. I don't know where that would happen, whether there's space for it, but we could explore that for sure. And if that's the case, if the city wants the bell back at the apparatus bay, well, gosh, we don't have to wait any longer when we could get to working on that restoration. So those were 2 points in regards to the fire engine. We've had a lot of people who want to donate to the fire truck to restore it, to make it look brand new. But because it's been out and exposed to the elements and the vandals, it's not worth investing in until it can be enclosed. So I just wanted to elaborate briefly on at least the city manager's ideas on the fire truck and actually developing a museum as a tribute to the volunteer fire department, and not as much as a garage. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that.
Madam Mayor, if I can chime in on the little bit of history of that rig also.
Go ahead.
That engine was that fire engine was in service until about 1985. We received in '83. We received what was called the new engine. So it became, that rig right there, the Van Pelt, became the third out engine. It was moved down to the storage below the mission, and it remained down there for a long time until we built the annex to the fire station, and then it was moved back up to the fire station. Unfortunately, it went from the fire station to the corporate yard, and that's where the demise of it started. And then I don't know why it was moved from a covered space out to the front of the Luck Museum, but that's where it ended up. And I really liked Dawn's idea about showcasing that. We still do have a lot of artifacts from the original, from the fire department at the beginning of its inception. I mean, we won a world championship on our muster in 1868. So that stuff is all still in the fire station, which would be something great to see. And I have no doubt that there's still artifacts in people's basements and attics in town that would love to donate. So that's just my little history lesson on that. So thank you.
Thank you very much. So now we need to charge staff with the final project. Is that my understanding? Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes. Yes, we received a lot of feedback again tonight, and the team will regroup. Melanie, I don't know if we move the theater to allow Jim Jack to stay where it is now. That's definitely a conflict. I understand. Thank you for your feedback there. Yeah, so that's a pretty significant change to move it back. But yeah, we need to regroup and think about that.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like it from all of the comments from the public and the council. So if we can take, we as in all of y'all, take one more stab at this with the Fire Engine Museum and Jim Jack remaining.
Okay, yeah, it's a discussion item, so appreciate the discussion.
Thank you all very much. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, Anne. thank you to the public and to the council for all of the comments. Looking forward to seeing it again. Sorry. It's coming out great. I can't wait to see the finished product. Play a game of checkers. Report on city's effort to control illegal fireworks during the July 4th, 2021 Independence Day. We have the fire department. I don't know that anybody else is in attendance.
Yeah, we have.
We want to discuss.
Right, so thank you. It's a little fast for us because we're still investigating, criminal investigations, in fact, related to the 4th of July and some events that we have on film. But we wanted to start the conversation. I invited the interim fire chief, Bautista. Thank you for hanging with us, Chief, to present. He provided a really nice summary of the work that went on. And just this afternoon, Code Enforcement Officer Rich Brown provided a quick summary on the enforcement side. Maybe we could introduce a conversation tonight and then bring it back and wrap it up in August. But of course, we know we're working towards a goal of having a new fireworks policy in December. So with that, Charlie, happy to let you move forward and just share your thoughts on the weekend.
Sure. Thank you for inviting me tonight. As you know, we had the illegal fireworks issue throughout the county. I did end up coming up a few times and patrolled San Juan Bautista for hours on end, and it was uneventful, but it was good. It was a good environment. It was a good job to get those security guards the powers to be able to administer administrative citations. I think for the future, I mean, totally, there was 23 citations that were given at admin sites, and that was in the city of Hollister. The deputies didn't give out any. Our code enforcement didn't get out any, and I didn't get out any. But I didn't go out the 4th of July. We're not prepared anymore because basically it's just too dangerous for us to be out there. Just because we don't trust people anymore, and they're very hostile towards us, and especially with alcohol and everything. We don't do I don't do 4th of July, and I don't take code enforcement out to do it. Our code enforcement, Desiree Martinez. So, but with that, 63 pounds of illegal fireworks were collected throughout the county, and that comes out to about six boxes full of illegal fireworks. For the future, I would recommend that we have a zero tolerance policy, since it's already against the law, and cite everyone because everybody knows that they're illegal. I think from this forward on, the way we see it is we have a zero tolerance, and if we catch them, they're getting a citation because $1,000 cite hits them hard and hits them fast. And that tends to stop it, hopefully, if not. And then from there on, it gets a little bigger citation. So for the future, I am still trying to get it banned in the SRA, all fireworks in the state responsibility area, so it's easier to control. Ideally, it would be, ideally, we'd like to have them just banned altogether in the county and have each jurisdiction at least put on a show if possible. That would be ideally a big show, and that way it'll be easier to enforce the illegal ones because those are the only ones we really have to chase. Even though I do love them, and I do, support the nonprofits, but it's at the point where they're just so dangerous, and so it's such a nuisance that we might have to do like all the other agencies have done, where they've banned them and just held big shows through that. So with that, and like I said, after a couple days after the 4th of July, I think it was like on the Monday or Tuesday, we had a big, huge illegal firework get blown off at the Briggs building in the city of Hollister. And that shook all the houses because it was in the parking garage on the 2nd floor. It didn't do any damage. So I think we're going to do more damage, especially with the way the courts are with juveniles and the prosecution. really there's nothing going to be done criminally against these people that light them off. So your best bet is to hit them with the administrative site, because $1,000 it'll go to all to you, and it hits them hard. So we weren't able to get them for criminal, and they said the best bet is to get them, and that was per the police chief, to get them with the administrative sites if we could identify them and pursue it that way. So they're in that process right now, because honestly, there's 4 kids, and if they're all from the same family, or 2 and 2, it's $2,000 each. That's a lot of money. So that's going to hurt them more than getting them going to court and having it dismissed as a criminal activity. So if we have any other questions, I'm here to answer them, or any ideas, we can go from there.
Thank you very much, Chief. You said 20, there were 20 citations written.
23 citations in the city of Hollister, yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Questions, comments, concerns from the council? Vice Mayor Flores.
The only comment I have was that those cameras worked. There was some fireworks illegal, of course, but not as much as last year. And I mean, I even heard one today in the daytime. One of the boomers after our meeting this morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I really have some problems with those fireworks, and the people know it's illegal and they still do it. So that's my comment.
Thank you
Mayor,
very much.
we do
Sorry.
have Rich Brown, if you want.
I understand. I'll get to him. Sorry, Code Enforcement Officer Rich Brown. Hang on one second. I just wanted to have questions to Interim Fire Chief Bedolla. Councilman Friels.
Yeah, I think maybe it's time that, we don't allow any fireworks in town. I hate to say that, not that I hate to say I agree with Charlie, but I hate to say that we shouldn't have fireworks. I love them too, but it's just out of control. And it, the way the wind's been blowing around here and how hot it's been, it wouldn't have taken much to lose all downtown. So, yeah, that's about all I have to say. Thanks.
Yep, thank you very much. Councilmember Freeman.
Yeah, just to follow up on exactly what Scott said, with the drought, with the heat, with the dry conditions, we could lose almost the entire town rather quickly. And I think we need to engage the community on this, and then even see if we want to keep safe and sane fireworks or just outlaw them also. And we need to have a discussion, because that affects the Anzar High Boosters Club and things like that. And it's important because that's how they fundraise for their athletic teams. But we do need to have a discussion. We have time. We know when the 4th of July is next year, and we can discuss it. We can chat about it with the community, our friends, as we go out into the community and talk about it, receive input from citizens, and come back and talk about it some more. But I'm really getting more and more down on fireworks.
Thank you very much. Chief, I want to thank you for all the work that you have done with training our level 1 private security and our code enforcer, Rich Brown, on what they are. And I appreciate all the work that you and your crews have done for the city. I know they did respond to something on Sunday night, so I appreciate you guys. A reminder to everybody that we do have an ordinance in place already that says there will be no fireworks in the city of San Juan Bautista. We have had it, it's been there. And we voted on a policy to cite everybody and anybody. So looking forward to all of the reports on seeing what happened and who did what, when, and where. I can't wait to see footage from the cameras to see how well they worked. I heard very little on Friday and Saturday and attribute that to having the cameras in place. So super excited about that. Okay, thank you very much, Chief. Code Enforcement Officer Rich Brown, welcome.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and honorable council members. I'd like to provide you with a brief summary. During the 4th of July weekend, at the direction of City Manager Don Reynolds and with the approval of the City Council, 4 surveillance trailers equipped with sophisticated cameras and recording capabilities were deployed at locations that historically have been areas for setting off illegal fireworks, including aerial fireworks, with the potential of setting catastrophic fires in and around our small city. The city contracted security company Level 1 did an outstanding job and provided a high level of service by providing 4 additional officers. Initially, the intent was to have all 4 officers in the field, but the decision was made to utilize 1 officer as a dispatcher / video monitor, and he set up a communication center in City Hall, much like Netcom does for law enforcement. The coordination and cooperation between the security officers and code enforcement was of the highest standard. The primary goal of increasing officer presence and deployment of the camera system was to prevent a catastrophic fire. Firework enforcement resulting in fire prevention was achieved by contacting anyone in public gatherings, educating those hotspots we mentioned, and the unbelievable prior levels of fireworks was greatly reduced. As you pointed out, Friday, Saturday was almost nothing. Unfortunately, not everyone who was educated did the right thing. On 2 occasions, citizens were warned and continued to violate the law, resulting in a $1,000 citation. Fortunately, the law breaking did not result in injury or damage to property. On the other hand, a criminal activity did result from the illegal use of fireworks that damaged the public restrooms at Abbey Park that a great many of our citizens use on a daily basis, and especially during ball games. This matter is being investigated by the San Benito County Sheriff's Office. Lastly, I anticipate additional citations being issued upon review of the captured video from the surveillance trailers upon the completion of the Sheriff's Department's investigation.
Awesome, thank you very much for that. Questions, comments, and concerns from the council. Vice Mayor Flores.
I just want to thank Rich and Level 1 also as well. They did a real good job, and I was, I sit up here in my man cave and I see all the fireworks going all over town. I can pinpoint the spots where they come out, and they're usually, this year they weren't there, so it was good. Good job.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Friels.
No, I'd also like to reiterate that being out there on 4th of July with people who have just no regard for our community by using explosive devices, and then having our security company and our code enforcement out in the middle of it, they deserve a round of applause. I really appreciate the work. I heard some rumblings also that did a vehicle get was a vehicle damaged and torched, or there was some during the weekend?
There was a report, I believe a citizen said that her vehicle, she thought it may have been penetrated by some kind of an aerial firework and caused arson in her vehicle, but I did not do that investigation. Maybe the chief knows something of that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Freeman.
Yes, I also think following up on what Scott just said, I congratulate Level 1, Rich Brown, and the fire department and Charlie, and of course the cameras, which I think helped a lot, did an exceptional job, and I think they do a good job of deterring fireworks also, and that's maybe even the most important thing. The best tickets are the ones we don't write because there's no fireworks. Thank you, and let's keep up the good work and see if we can make it even better next year.
Thank you very much. Questions, comments, and concerns from public comment? Are there any? Is there any public comment?
Yes, Madam Mayor, Cherie, and I'm going to let you into the meeting. If you'll please unmute yourself as you enter.
Hello.
Thank you, Cherie. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, everybody. Over the weekend, on Saturday evening and Sunday evening, we happened to be in the Rancho Vista area. We heard a lot of something like a party and then a lot of firework boom going off kind of north of First Street. So, but we didn't see any fireworks in the sky, but we just heard a lot of loud bang. So I don't know whether if they're being illegal, are they also getting the fine, not just during the 4th of July weekend? Is it all year long?
City Manager.
Yes, we had special enforcement and the ability to write administrative citations from our private security applicable to the weekend, but our code enforcement can write these citations throughout the year at the same rate. That part did not end.
Okay, and sorry, the second question is my personal idea was the Safe and Sane firework, the fundraising. Okay, we should support the fundraising, do with the food fundraising instead of, because the consequences of the cause a lot more damage than the benefit of a sports team fundraising. So maybe having some vegetable fruit for the local business. That just a suggestions for now. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other public comment?
No, Madam Mayor, that's our last public comment.
Thank you very much. So it sounds like the direction that staff needs to go is to reiterate again that we have an ordinance in place that says no fireworks at all whatsoever of any kind. To go over the footage from the cameras and compile a report, and then for a future council meeting to figure out what to do with the boosters for Anzar High School and how we can still support them and not have fireworks being sold. I guess folks thought that because they were for sale meant that they could be used. So we'll have to figure out that in subsequent meetings as well before December, on or before December. Thank you all very much. Thanks, Fire Chief. Thanks, Code Enforcement Officer Rich Brown, and for all the public comment and input from the council. Update on water and wastewater distribution system enhancements in compliance with the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. City Manager. Flags. We're going backwards, man.
We're going backwards, right? I just want to do that one more time. Just one more. Make sure the city attorney's on her job there. Okay, good. Okay, so we covered that. Thank you, everybody. Real quick, water status. In the last week, we've been working with the EPA to recalibrate some of our schedules that we identified in our plan for compliance with the EPA. They're helping us with that. We have their full cooperation. We're 90% done with the rate study. I hope to get a final draft scheduled by the end of the week. We sent our MOU and final draft form to Hollister June 30th. There have been some vacations and other things going on, so we hope to get an opinion or some feedback from them. And then we will meet with our water committee, Mayor Jordan and Councilmember Freeman, and meet with the water committee in Hollister and talk to them about bringing that forward to both councils. And that's critical because it impacts our rate study. The funding obligations await the environmental and rate study, and the environmental work continues to be on track and is due towards September and October. So both the state and the federal government funding opportunities are waiting for our environmental clearances before they move forward with their applications. So those are important. And then the finance plan is what's having to be delayed, waiting for those obligations with the USDA, potentially the EPA, and the State Water Board. So that's it in a nutshell. We have been working, and this is hard to read, but this is the Gantt chart that we're tracking with Stantec. And what's important is the CEQA completion and NEPA completion are down here indicated. September for the California Environmental Quality Act, and November here. For the National Environmental Protection Act. The 30% design is also really important. We've got final design by December. We're still on track for that, but the 30% design is due in August. So they are updating this for us now, and we are on target to match the plan that we set forth. I'm really happy about that. And then on the water side, HDR is in the contract with the San Benito County Water District, and they are making progress towards identifying a final route for their pipeline. And with that, they'll be able to move forward really fast with their project as well. So I expect to receive status reports hopefully by the end of this week. We've scheduled a meeting with the EPA and Stantec, our contractor, and city engineer, and Carl, our project manager, for the week after I return from my vacation. So I'm trying to get that done Wednesday or Thursday that week for the EPA's request, and then we'll have some more detailed reports for the council. But just to assure you that the design of these projects, the environmental reviews are all moving forward. Geological studies can now be done because we've identified our alignment for our pipeline. And we have very little easement applications or negotiations to worry about because we'll be traveling down the center of the streets. So that's pretty consistent with prior reports. I just wanted to assure folks that we were moving forward with our water. It was a request of the council to have the water on a discussion every council agenda. So there it is. And I'm happy to answer any questions that the council or public may have.
Thank you very much. Questions, comments, concerns from the council? Vice Mayor Flores.
No questions, no comments. Thank you very much.
Councilmember Freels.
No questions, just a couple comments. I realized this today as we were out at the well site. I hope people in San Juan realize how lucky we are to have two water people on our council and a city manager that did a little bit of time in public works. So it's just all these, everything all fell into place. It's moving fast, Dawn. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Freeman, questions, comments, concerns?
No real questions, just a comment. I'm glad to hear it's all working well. Thank you, Scott. We're trying, and hopefully it will get done quickly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, with all the water issues that we're having, they're actually all in the positive now. Thank you all very much for working on it. Questions, comments, concerns from the public?
If you have a public comment, please dial *9 on your telephone keypad or raise your hand. Madam Mayor, we have no public comments.
Thank you very much. Direction to staff, keep on keeping on. Well done, Don.
Thank you, Mayor. And to that end, Thursday afternoon, Congressman Panetta will be meeting with our water committee
Yes.
to talk about drought and also our projects so far. He's quite proud of our work and has sponsored a little bit of money for us, hopefully in Congress. So hopefully that'll happen. His $1 million earmark.
That's nice. And we're meeting at what trail again?
Oh, yes, that would, yes, we offered to take him bike riding, but I don't think he has a mountain bike. So we're going to meet at City Hall.
Thank you. Update on COVID-19.
Back here, just one slide, I promise, one more. And really all this slide is doing is what we have to do. We have to talk about the fact and remind people at this point that we remain in a state of emergency. So we're under the state's guidance here in the state. I checked the COVID-19.ca website today, and we remain in a state of emergency. So city manager acting as the director shall request that the city council review this at least every 21 days. So we're reviewing it tonight and acknowledging that the emergency has not been terminated by the state. So the need to continue local emergency exists. And to that end, with the information coming from Europe and India, there is concern that some cities in our state, the highly populated cities, have reverted back to wearing masks. Some have not. So basically we are, I just spent, well, I'll get to that. I did check for the most recent changes at the California Department of Health, and most of them are school related. And even in the school setting that they're planning to return to school in the fall, they're being flexible on masks. So those are the only changes I saw in terms of any new edicts coming from the state. They haven't arrived in terms of our retail and tourism industries. I did spend some time with my wife recently in Carmel Village. On 4th of July, it was packed and their little shops were packed. And each business had the same sign on the window that says, if you're not vaccinated, please wear a mask. So they are not as strict as some of our local shops where we're asking everyone to wear a mask. And that seems to be working well at City Hall. People are coming into City Hall frequently now. We get 20 or 30 folks a day paying their water bill, seems like, and they're all happy to wear a mask and being respectful. So it's just interesting to see what some of the other cities are doing in light of this confusion about wearing a mask. So anyway, that's where I am, and that's my last slide, and I'm, yeah, ready to go.
Bye, good night.
Thank you very much. Any questions, comments, or concerns on the update on COVID-19? Vice Mayor Flores.
No comments. I'm glad we're doing well.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Friels.
Nothing, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Freeman.
Nothing. Let's just keep up the good work and hope for the best.
Thank you very much. Comments, final comments from the City Council. Vice Mayor Flores.
None. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Friels.
Nothing other than my tomatoes are coming in.
Woohoo! Councilmember Freeman.
Nothing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have nothing. City Manager.
Just to announce or remind folks that I'll be out of the office next week. Family is joining our extended family as we do once a year, so I appreciate the opportunity to enjoy this time with them. And that the Assistant City Manager will be on duty, I think all but half of a day. So we have better support than we had a year ago. And I just wanted to thank the council for everything they've done to support staff in the last few months. Thank you very much.
Must be nice to be able to pass that torch. City Attorney.
Nothing. Good night, everyone.
Thank you very much. City Clerk.
Just quickly, I wanted to let you know that I'm working with Dawn and Trish at City Hall. I've reviewed 5 different bids from companies that provide agenda management and streaming solutions. And so we'll be reviewing those together August 2nd. And so hopefully we've got something interesting to share with you, if not August, maybe September, on changing the way that we run our meetings as well as possibly streaming. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you very
Second.
much. Thank you very much. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Vice Mayor Flores,
Yes.
Councilmember Fields,
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Yes.
and Mayor Jordan.
Aye.
And that motion carries with a 401 vote.
Have a good night.
Thank you very
All right,
much. Have a great
thank you.
evening. all.
Good night.
Thank you
Good
for your
evening.
input. We appreciate
Good
you. Thanks for attending,
Hey.
everybody in the audience.
Hey, thanks you guys for the meeting this morning, Don. That was great.
Well, I'm glad you
Les,
enjoyed it. I
You did a
too.
good job, Les. Very proud of you.
I hope you
Did you-
recorded your Zoom. Did you? I hope you recorded your Zoom. No? Oh, well.
No.
I forgot to.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right.
That
Sorry.
was good. All right.
We could have put it in the archives, you know?
Mm.
Well, we'll figure it
All
out.
right.
Thanks. Good night.
Good
guys.
night.